her call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran off her medication. She's at work to Safe Haven. Attacking 12, take a check that one out.
6 Rumble, 2 point start, take a shot.
Officer still stands for time? No. Offender in custody?
Whoops. There we go. Running a little slow this morning. Come on. Is it going to work? There we go. Good morning. Running a little slow this morning. Just a little bit, that's all. Good morning, Rosee.
Good morning. Hi, everyone.
What's up? So there's a new book, I guess, from Howard Blum. So I don't know. Do you know much about it? Because I just heard that he wrote a book. But I'm hearing a lot about, like, when we read the what was that article he wrote where it was like 7 parts, The Mind of a Killer or something
like that. Yeah.
It seemed pretty focused on Kohberger. So I'm wondering if this new book is like going even more into Kohberger. Do you know? Does anybody know? I haven't read it. I'd like to read it, but
the only thing I know about the book is that he claims to have a motive. That I think I saw a headline like that, but that's really all I know.
I don't know. I mean, I wonder, he's got to watch the court hearings.
Yeah.
I mean,
would hope.
Is it like a double down because you already, you gotta be right, I don't know. Like, I would have a hard time seriously, you even see some of these content creators out here that used to be like Kohberger's guilty as shit, don't want to hear nothing else, and now they're even like, all right, guys, all right, they're all right. I'm gonna have to. Does anybody know how many chapters it is? Do you know how many chapters it is? How many pages? No. I would like to read it for the show sometime, where we sit down for for a couple hours at a time or something, and I'll just read the book and then commentate on it. I think I don't know. Those articles were nuts, man. I remember those articles, and I know there's like some people out there that are totally like, because the dude's been around for a long time, Howard Blum, and there's a lot of people that are like, he's a stand-up guy, he's the greatest guy I know, he's like, but then there's some people where a younger generation where they're like, are you just trying to remain relevant? Is this what this is about? I mean, he is getting up there. Like, is he trying to do crazy shit to? Oh my gosh, Howard Blum. Wasn't he on a YouTube show recently?
Was he?
I don't know. Does anybody know? For some reason, my mind's telling me that he was on a YouTube show.
I know he was in a documentary.
I don't know. I could have. I'll have to check. Maybe I have it saved. I don't know. It's been a while since we talked Idaho 4.
It has.
Is it? Oh, okay. Is Drunk Turkey? Shoot, we might have to check that out today. See here. Lucid, how long is that episode? We might have to check that out today. That'll be an interesting conversation. Drunk Turkey and Howard Bloom. I wonder, because I know Drunk Turkey show for a long time has been pretty pro Kohberger guilty. I'm wondering, uh, where they're at now over there with all these court hearings that came out. Because I honestly haven't even seen. I think, gosh, maybe a year ago. I think when we were kind of going around in the same circles or whatever. I think it was maybe a year ago. So there's been a lot of stuff from a year ago. It's due today, T. Fellard. What's due? Oh, the book. What does he read? Wait a minute, isn't he a preacher, man? I thought he was a preacher, man. He's reading Howard Bloom's book. What the hell, man? That's Jim Baker to a whole new level, man. Shit. It's the new version where they mix YouTube true crime and Bible verses.
Oh, you know.
It's like JP. It's like Rosee, did you hear this shit? We were I was on their website because their website's back up. And we were I was like, hey, if you want to, it was like how to become a member or something on the website. I wanted to promote it, right?
Yeah.
And then I kind of, my eyes as I'm doing the, it's always scanning everything. And my hand just took me right to John Paul, pastor. Click, hyperlink, pulls up John Paul's bio. Have you read that? He had his first sermon was 6 minutes at a library because he only knew one verse. And it said that he had a couple family members and several drug related individuals. He just I was telling everybody, I was like, it's like he got a dare. He was like sitting around with his he was sitting around with his buddies, and they're having their fun, and somebody was probably like, hey dude, you should call your parents up and have them go to a library and just do a Bible verse like you're a preacher as a joke. I bet you won't do it. I bet you won't do it. And he's like, I bet you I will. I bet you won't. Oh yeah, I'll call my mom and dad right now. Right? It's like that kind of joke. What the hell? I don't know. So yeah, it was crazy shit. Shit's wild. Because I thought he was a preacher's son. So I don't know. Maybe that's the new thing now, is they mix the preaching and the true crime. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a whole new level. Tithing, true crime tithing is what he could call it. Is that what he calls it? True crime tithing? Little mixture there. So yeah. Oh, Howard Bloom's is in the interview. Hold on a second. New book claims to reveal the target. I was actually going to bring that up. Thank you, Caddy.
Oh yeah, that's what I saw.
And thank you, Katrina. Yeah, the target, and it shows Maddie's photo on the thumbnail. Now, it wasn't ABC News. This was I'll have to look. It was Inside Edition. And it's showing Maddie's photo on the thumb line. And then a couple days ago, I had heard that a family member got arrested. A Consalva's family member, I heard, got arrested. I didn't really. We've been into the Micah stuff. I was on location. My mind is on other things at that point. But when I got back, I found out who it was, and I was very shocked.
Yeah.
Now I didn't know what it was for, what substance. Was it gummies or something? Because Coeur d'Alene literally is like just a hop skip to the border of Washington and Idaho. In Washington, it's legal there. Recreation is legal. So was it as something simple as gummies? Because who gives a fuck? You know
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying? Like, who gives a
Yeah.
fuck? They're all going to be legal here in the next 10 years anyway. I mean, most of the country, it's legal anyway. Who gives a fuck? I thought she got her. What? No, Moonlight. I could have swore it was substance. Hold on. That's crazy. Nuh-uh. Hold
Let
on.
me also check.
Hold on. Okay, here it is right here.
You got it? Okay.
What?
What?
No freaking way. Hold on. Sorry, I thought it was sharing it. This is crazy. Are you serious? What? That's real.
Really?
What the hell? No freaking way. No, I'm not saying you were spreading rumors, Moonlight. I thought it was for something else. I'm sitting here thinking
Me too.
gummies, y'all. I'm thinking gummies. That's what. Okay, I don't. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, that's crazy.
I also thought it was something else.
Yeah, I thought it was. Like I said, I heard it and I'm like, oh, that's who it is. And then I didn't even look. I was just in my mind. I instantly went. Coeur d'Alene's right next to the border. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. It's public, so you can go check it out. It's on the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office website.
I really thought it was something else as well.
Oh, actually, hear it. 1 second. Let me share this is where we got it from. Here we go. Right there. I just showed her part, but here's the link. XR on Twitter over there.
Wow. Okay.
What the hell happened?
Yeah. What is the story?
What? How in the hell? I don't know. Something don't make sense because she always seemed very gracious, and I mean, she almost seemed like she was the spokesperson. I know Steve G was I guess they were like a combo spokes group, because literally she was out there just as much as Steve was.
Yeah.
What? I'm trying to wrap my mind around this here.
Me too. Yeah, yeah.
Did I hear about ISP property burning down? No way, Moonlight. I heard that Coeur d'Alene police station caught on fire. That so Idaho State Police don't. Oh my lord! Hold on a minute. What were they holding evidence for the Kohberger trial? If they were, this shit was arson. Because they were probably like, hey guys, we're all gonna go up in flames anyway. If this
Yeah.
thing goes even more to trial, so let's just light a match and toss it. Don't tell me. This is a bad day today. I'm waking up hearing shit I never thought I would.
IT department.
Lost vehicles in their IT department.
Are the vehicles near the IT department?
Oh my gosh. No. Is that okay? Oh my gosh. Dude. Because remember, okay, this was a long time ago, you guys. What is ISP? ISP is Idaho State Police. They were a major part in trying to do the investigative work into this crime, which I'm sorry, where's the beef? Especially in these court hearings, because there should be a lot more beef than that. It's like tofu beef is what it's been. Not a hot dog steak, not a hot dog steak, just some tofu beef. That's not good. Because it reminds me when the state of Idaho, and we covered this a long time ago, when the state of Idaho was trying to become a state, okay? They were trying to become a state. Washington and Montana were fighting against Idaho. This is when the states were being created. Washington area and Montana were fighting the Idaho territory for the panhandle that included Coeur d'Alene, Moscow, a lot, the northern part, that little section that gets thin and goes up. They were fighting over that property, okay? In Idaho, this is the craziest shit I ever heard too. The reason that Idaho was able to keep the panhandle is because Idaho University was created. They needed to have a college located in the panhandle to be able to keep the territory. So Idaho University is older than the fucking state of Idaho. How does that happen?
Yeah.
How does that happen? And shortly after they became a university, guess what happened when things weren't going so good and they were about to lose their university? Somebody took a match and went, okay? Then all of a sudden, oh, here's some money that we can use to make sure that we survive. Oh, now look at the University of Idaho, not Idaho University. My bad. University of Idaho was created before the state of Idaho. They had fires in the very beginning because things weren't going so good, and if things didn't go so good, well, then they lost that part of the territory. Now they're about to lose. I mean, come on. We've seen the court hearings. We got one coming up in 2 days. Hang out with us. We'll be covering it. There's another one. And what is this? ISP, IT department? I hope they weren't saving Kohberger's cast data. the video, the pictures. I hope not.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Because they're about to lose it. What is it with some of these communities thinking that they're still pushing out Model Ts in the 1920s and people are that gullible?
I don't know if they even care if people believe it. They'll just be like, this is how it is.
They probably don't. Did you know that it's been a long time also since we have talked about it? There's been a couple videos from that real estate guy too.
Oh, him.
Yeah, you might have forgot about him.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, he's had a couple videos. Trust me, when it's because I have them saved. I have like all these different folders for different cases. I'm continually like getting the latest news on every case, even if we don't talk about it. And there was a couple of them I came across, and I was like, "Aw, I miss those shows." Where, it's like I'm a real estate agent to help you, purchase a home, but
not here.
You don't really want to move here. I'm trying to sell you a house, but really, I'm trying to give you all the reasons why you're going to be miserable. Yeah, let's just be miserable. All right, let me check this out. Let me see here. So, wow, that's crazy. DV. Bond amount $0. I don't know. That's crazy, man. Does anybody know the story behind it? I'm in because this was when. Let me see. This was. Where's the date on it? There is no. Oh, 6/20/2024. So that was 5 days ago. There's got to be a story out about it, no?
Yeah, there must be.
All right, here's a video about the new book claiming to reveal the targets. He must just be doubling down on it, because I don't know how you can. What a beautiful landscape, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how somebody could be all straight up into like him being guilty. You got to see the court hearings. I mean,
yeah, I kind of expected people would change, but maybe they still will. I don't know.
They got to see the court hearings. And I don't know how you can say he's guilty as hell. We'll see, though. I don't know. Well, I kind of want to watch that Drunk Turkey interview with Howard Blum. That has to be interesting.
A year and a half after the brutal killing of 4 college students, Xana Kernodle, her boyfriend Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez. Families and friends still awaiting justice as a trial has yet to be set for Brian Kohberger.
I hope people understand how all these kids that were a part of this were doing everything right. And they were going to be the type of people that you wanted to be your neighbor.
On November 13th of 2022, a quadruple homicide rocked the quiet college town of Moscow, Idaho, and the nation. It made headlines everywhere.
Now to the investigation into the deaths of 4 college students from the University of Idaho. There is news tonight, chilling new images.
It also took over social media with theories.
All right, this is what I think happened in the Idaho murders.
Unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you've heard of the University of Idaho murders.
As the victims' families and friends waited nearly 7 weeks for a suspect to be arrested.
The arrest of a 28-year-old man in Pennsylvania in connection with the brutal murders of 4 University of Idaho students.
Now, new reporting about the murders detailed in a new book by award-winning author Howard Blum. you come to the conclusion that based on your research, your interviews, you believe that Brian Kohberger did it?
I believe that Brian Kohberger did it, but there are two parts to that question. The first part is, can he be convicted in a court of law? And I think that's a much higher mountain to climb.
When the Night Comes Falling, based in part on Blum's early conversations with the Moscow Police Department before the judge issued a gag order.
Okay, I gotta pause it because we just had the last court hearing with Cy Ray. Kohberger's alibi is going in the complete opposite direction of where the crime took place. I was out there on location. I talked to the cell phone company. I looked at the coverage because I needed to know where my dead spots were at for my safety. So I knew, hey, I'm coming up to an area that's not going to have coverage. If something shady was going down, I would know to go in a different direction. You know what I mean? I'm thinking ahead. Hey, if something's happening, go to where I got connection. Don't go into a dead spot. On accident is when I saw that you can literally be in Pullman in a certain spot and be connected to the same tower that 1122 used. I just kind of felt it. Oh, wow. So, I even asked the dude, I was like, hold on a second. So I can be right here and I'm going to connect to this tower? And yeah. Okay. Anything south of Moscow? Good luck, man. Sometimes you might have to get out of your vehicle in order to be able to get a bar. Like, that's what I was told. There's some spots down there south. You know, as soon as you leave Moscow, you got a little bit of coverage, and then you go man. I bet you might not even get a cell signal if you step outside your car. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that this is based off early conversations with Moscow PD. So, I mean, how?
Yeah, but I'm saying Howard Blum is like, do you think he did it? Yeah, I think he did it.
That's what I'm saying too.
But it's a lot harder to convict him. It's going to be a higher mountain to climb. So if his alibi is he's going in the opposite direction, you can literally connect to the same tower that 1122 in Pullman, in a small southeast corner of Pullman. You can literally connect to the same tower at 1122 and still go the opposite direction that Kohberger went.
Yeah.
So how can this guy you're seeing, I wouldn't even feel comfortable coming out with this book, because when did he get done writing it is my question. He had to have seen these court hearings.
Yeah, so I think that's part of the, covering himself by saying, I think he did it, but proving it is another thing, just so that, it's not my fault if,
Because you already wrote the book, so you have no damn choice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be doing interviews. I'd be like, I'd come out with another book. You know what I mean? I'd come out with another book. I'd put a part 1 on that damn thing and say, all right, I need to write a part 2. Because shit done changed. shit done changed. Oh, I love my Walmart K-Cups. Hold on. Mine is pecan. What? I don't. Can you buy it and where? I don't know. Can you buy it online? Remember when we read, I think it was Amazon or something, wasn't it? Somebody sent me a code for the book for President Green's book on, and we were able to read it. I only read a chapter with this book. shit.
Cliff-notes.
Yeah, with this book, I'd like to read it all and commentate on it because he even had some interviews with Megyn Kelly. He had like a bunch of interviews with Megyn Kelly too. We never did. I think we only checked out one of those. We'll have to check those out too. Maybe that's when he got done writing the book. Because, gosh, those Megyn Kelly episodes have been... Man, it has to have been 6 months. Has to. 6 months since they came out, maybe?
Maybe.
All right, let's... You guys want to watch the Drunk Turkey Show interview with Howard Blum? Type 1 in chat if you do. Don't type nothing if you don't.
Shrouding the investigation in secrecy.
I was able to reconstruct this night when everything seems to fall apart.
It all began November 12th, 2022, a Saturday night in college. Friends headed to local bars and parties. Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogen, newly 21, went to the popular campus bar, the Corner Club, around 10 p.m.
These two girls were just there for each other.
Steve Gonzalez is Kaylee's heartbroken father.
They went to dances together.
Yeah, just a good, wholesome friendship that you hope every...
Wow, that's from November 2022 interview. Whoa, that's like right after it happened.
Yeah, I think this is the documentary I was thinking of.
Whoa. Should not be allowed. David. I gotta read it. I mean, because I wanted to go into the Megyn Kelly episodes. Because when we read those articles, you know, the part whatever, it was just... I remember when they came out, because that was when mainstream media was still like just going crazy, you know, tossing all of these like crazy ass, like, you know, just the narrative they were pushing was just, the stench was huge. And it was around that time, so there were some parts, you know, you first start reading it and you're like, whoa, dang, this guy's, you know, he's there, you know, right. He's telling he's in it. Until I went there and I was driving the path and I was going to the house at nighttime in the back and I was going to the area. I was talking to the college students at WSU, University of Idaho, going to the vigil, all these different things. And then I started to be like, let me look at this Howard Blum shit again. And I'm just like, he's just out of touch. He's just out of touch. He gives his theory on DTS. It's quite a detailed story. That sounds interesting. Oh. Let me see here. Yeah, there's we'll have to check that out. I don't know. That sounds interesting. Go ahead, Rosee. If you're having some technical issues, just hop out, reset, and then come back in and see if that helps. And then I'll wait to play that video.
Steve Gonzalez is Kaylee's heartbroken father.
They went to dances together.
Yeah, just a good, wholesome friendship that you hope every child has. And you're grateful that they have that.
Investigators say the two young women left the Corner Club around 1:30 a.m. And by 1:40, Kaylee and Maddie were seen laughing and taking pictures as they ordered from a food truck in downtown Moscow.
I could just tell just by her body language that she was definitely feeling pretty good. And I wish I could have been there and given them a hug.
At 1:56 a.m., the pair arrived home. According to authorities, their roommate, Xana Kernodle, and her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, both 20 years old, were at a fraternity party earlier that same night, but also returned to that off-campus home by about 1:45 a.m. Hours later, all four were dead. The other two roommates were already home and allegedly sleeping. They were unharmed. Little information has been released to the public, but Blum's book now claiming to fill in some of the gaps that night.
In your reporting, you come to the conclusion that Maddie was the target in this.
The authorities, in their mind, are convinced that the suspect came in through the sliding door on the second floor of the house. Right once you enter the kitchen area, there's a bedroom that Dylan Mortensen was in. On the left-hand side, the right-hand side was Zaina's bedroom. If he was just on a killing spree, it would have been natural, instinctive to go to one of those doors. Instead, he goes up this narrow staircase and he turns directly into Maddie's room. And I think Maddie was his target.
Sources tell both Blum and ABC News that the two surviving roommates were using their phones to communicate during and after the murders.
According to testimony that was made to the grand jury, the two girls were communicating. They were texting one another, not just after, but at one point during the killings.
Sources close to Kohberger's family telling Blum his father Michael was on edge as he picked up Brian from school that winter.
He's been reading the headlines. He knows that 4 students were killed just 12 miles from his son's house. He knows what a troubled son he has. The Moscow police issue a bolo, a stop order on a car that is a white Hyundai Elantra. He realizes my son drives a 2015 Hyundai Elantra.
And according to Blum,
they were looking for. Okay, they were looking for a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra all the way up until he was arrested. Look it up. They have interviews. They have interviews from LE stating that they were looking for a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. And all of a sudden, when Kohberger's arrested, it's like, oh yeah, guys, it was a 2015. So why would his dad be like, son, did you commit this crime, when he drives a 2015? Oh my gosh, it's everybody up there drives a white car. I don't know why, because it snows a lot, and if you get in an accident, don't you want to stand out? Don't get it. I don't get it, but I don't know. I don't live up there, so I don't know. I'm just thinking ahead. If I get into an accident in a place where it snows a lot, wouldn't I want like a bright color car or something? I don't know. Maybe I just think too far ahead. But when he's sitting back, why would he think, hey, son, you drive a 2015 Hyundai Elantra. They're looking for a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Did you do it? No, Dad. They're looking for 2011 to 2013. I would be like, damn, son, it's a good thing you drive a 2015.
Right. I was about to say that. It'd probably be like, well, thank goodness that's not what you drive.
Right. Woo, right. Woo. You got
we
2
know it wasn't
years.
you.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're not driving a 2014. Thank you. I'm so glad you're driving a 2015. That's 2 years in between. I'd like to see what they say. It doesn't. Howard Blum. Yeah, his dad knew because he was driving the same car. He had to be freaking out, spazzing. How come they didn't say anything about the University of Idaho and they brought up Kopaka? Probably because Kopaka just freaking happened when they were leaving, and he's from Washington State University. He's not from the University of Idaho. So why would you refer to a crime from a university you don't attend, even though you're a few minutes away, when you would refer to, no, I'm from Washington State University where this situation happened? So this whole twist, Lollipop sounds so good. There's a whole twist on this stuff that's being spun. I gotta hear this dude's theory. Can you guys do me a favor? And if anybody knows the timestamp of just where he discusses his theory, please let me know. Because I'd like to check that part out first for that DTS episode. And I kind of do want to talk. I kind of do want to get into the Megyn Kelly stuff too. Because I think, I don't know. I've seen some of her videos on it. She does, when it comes to the Kohberger case, she kind of kept an open mind, but then also sometimes it was like, I don't think you're really looking into the shit, Megan, or your interns ain't doing it or something. So I'd kind of like to see like where she was going with it. I think these would be interesting to check out today.
It's
Even
also-
though go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just saying it's also interesting since we've had a break from the case and discussing the case, and you can come back and see where other people are, like.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, really, other than the court hearings, I mean, shoot, when was? Because I want to start having more shows on the case,
Yeah.
When was it? I mean, other than the court hearings, couple months maybe.
Yeah, I think the last thing we discussed was the intern program.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is.
And the church. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, that was a lot longer than 2 months ago. Yeah, all this stuff. It's crazy when you can just feel something's gonna happen. This was where the freeze came from, was this case right here. This shit is so easy to call. It's pathetic. Just like what's the court hearing for on Thursday? I haven't even checked the docs.
Me neither, but I know that people are saying there might be a trial date from that hearing. I don't know.
Oh, March 2025.
Yeah.
What date did I say? Because I gave like a. I'll have to go back and look because I remember I was given a specific month that the trial was going to start, and I need to see if that's going to come out to fruition because I was way back. I think they are thinking later now. Oh wow. Megyn Kelly's was a year ago? Oh my gosh, no way. Time is flying like crazy. This is crazy. Like when I'm sitting here watching this video and I'm seeing the house, when it was still up.
Yeah.
It's taken me back to the time that I was there, and the atmosphere and the food and the landscapes and the fog and just all of these different memories. Crazy stuff. Gosh, it's been that long.
Yeah, it's weird to think the house isn't there.
God, we need to start doing more Idaho 4 shows every week. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the first episode catching up on Kohberger. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Like it's just like, hey, I got a whole folder list of stuff. And then all of a sudden now it's like, we're going to be checking out Howard Bloom stuff. Thank you, mods, for dropping those in the chat too. Cool. Yeah, we'll check those out. Let me know if there's a timestamp on the Drunk Turkey Show episode that where he goes into his theory. I would just like to check that part out today, and maybe we can check different parts out in another show.
Bloom sources. Brian's own sister approached their dad, voicing her suspicions about Brian.
What was that conversation like?
She's a family psychologist, and she knows her brother has had problems. She goes to Michael, and she says, "Dad, in effect, we have a real problem. I'm starting to believe that Brian could be involved in these killings. And what does Michael do? He can't confront it. He just turns around and walks away.
Shortly after, police arrested Brian Kohberger on December.
Now, I heard that a long time ago. Did he speak to her specifically?
I never got like clarity on it. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. Let me listen to that again, and let me get the closed caption up here. Let me check this out.
The Moscow police issue a bolo, a stop order on a car that is a white Hyundai Elantra. He realizes my son drives a 2015 Hyundai Elantra.
And according to Blum sources, Brian's own sister approached their dad, voicing her suspicions
According
about
to
Brian.
his sources.
What was that conversation?
According to his sources. That could be Reddit. I'm being real. That it could be Reddit.
Voices in your head. Yeah. No, I know. I don't think he spoke to her.
I saw on Reddit that. Did you guys know that when you go outside and when the light exposure changes, it actually affects the colors that you see, and red is really yellow, green is really blue, and black is really white? It's on Reddit. From according to sources, yeah, according to sources, according to sources,
right?
Red is yellow, blue is green, black is white. It's just when, yeah, it's the different light exposure. It changes things. That's according to my sources on Reddit. Yeah,
she's a family psychologist, and she knows her brother has had problems. She goes to Michael and she says, Dad, in effect, we have a real problem. I'm starting to believe that Brian could be involved in these killings. And what does Michael do? He can't confront it. He just turns around and walks away.
Shortly after, police arrested Brian Kohberger on December 30th, 2022. The Kohberger family not commenting on the claims in Blum's book. His former public defender in Pennsylvania, Jason Labar, saying, I find it brazen that such an esteemed author would publish a book based on multiple layers of speculation, assumptions, and presumptions, while Brian Kohberger, veiled in innocence, has yet to have his trial. While Blum details Kaylee's father's tireless pursuit of answers, the Gonzalez family telling ABC News they have never spoken with Mr. Blum about the contents of his book, and they call it fiction, a version made up by him relying on sources that have no responsibility or duty to speak the truth.
Reddit.
In May of last year, at his arraignment, Kohberger stood silent.
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge.
There's no real rhyme or reason for you to stand silent. If you truly believe yourself to be not guilty, then say it. If you want to take a plea, then say it. But standing silent doesn't stop the proceedings. It doesn't move it forward.
Investigators claim DNA evidence and surveillance footage, plus cell phone records.
ABC News legal contributor.
All link Kohberger to the murders, but his
that means intern.
His attorney maintains that he had no connection to the victims.
And we know some interns don't even know what legal jargon 101 is when it comes to terms.
We know.
We've had some experience with that where an intern doesn't even know what the definition of a threat is. It's like, who fucking threatened who? What are you talking about? Oh my God. Oh,
I don't
that's right. It's your issues up here. That's right.
Kohberger has been held at the Latah County Jail in Moscow, Idaho since early 2023, while his team builds their case, claiming he's innocent.
When will the
Interns.
trial take place? You know, that's the question that the defense does not want to be answered. Their strategy seems to be delay, delay, delay. There's a wisdom that lawyers often say, if you have the facts, go into the courtroom and pound them. If you don't have the facts, pound the table. Well, Brian Kohberger's defense is doing a lot of table pounding.
The fuck it is. The fucking prosecution is the one. Your Honor, we can't have the defense spreading misinformation and putting out information that shouldn't be out there, Your Honor. It's a travesty. Defense. Prosecution. This was your press conference, and this is when you told everybody to go look at the stuff that you're what are you talking about, sir? And the defense didn't pound on no table. That's Bill Thompson. That's Bill Thompson. The defense played a fucking video of Bill Thompson going, tell your internet peoples and tell your friends and have everybody read it and share it with everybody. We encourage you to do it. Yeah, we encourage you to do it. It's like JP, man. She was popping my tires and putting trackers on my vehicles.
Of course.
No, bro. What are you talking about, bro? The fuck is this world up to? How could people? I don't know. I
don't know.
All right, hold on. Let's speaking of the court date, here's that video about talking about it could be late 2025
since the tragic murders of 4 University of Idaho students. And now a judge could soon decide on a trial date for the man charged in the deaths. Joining us now is criminal trial attorney Sarah Azari. Sarah, thanks for being with us.
Of course, good to see you.
I like her. I'm gonna be honest. I try to listen sometimes, and sometimes them glasses are so big. It's hard not to like.
Can't focus.
I can't help it. I mean, I'm not saying anything negative. I mean, they're stylish. You know what I mean? They're stylish. They're different. They're unique.
They are.
They go with the outfits, but just sometimes I'm gonna be honest. I'm just in awe of like
they're too effective.
Like those are huge glasses. I mean, like no, and then sometimes I'll kind of like daydream, and then I'll like wonder. I wonder like what that would. Not that I would ever wear them, but I'm like sometimes I start daydreaming. Like I wonder what I would fucking look like with glasses that big. Like I don't even think about true crime at that point. So she is great though. They have a the Presumption podcast. They have a good show. Good morning, Samantha, Mark and Betty. Thank you, everybody. Tiffany, Yvette. They got a good show, but it's just like every time I'm just like, damn. They like, how do you even like? Can you imagine how big that eyeglass case has to be? It has to be like a gun case.
Yeah,
it's got to be like a gun case to carry. Right? And then what do you do? Take an old shoe rack and make it a glasses case? Because I mean, it's really, they got to be like the size of a shoe. I'm just trying to imagine here. Yeah, they got to be like the size of a shoe, a small shoe or something.
Hey,
I do.
I have the right face for it. Then
no, they're great. They're great. I just. I mean, they're great. She's awesome. I just sometimes I just end up true crime, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I wonder what those would look like. Like it just kind of, I don't know. We'll see. Timestamp 7:25. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Here's about the trial coming up.
And a half since the tragic murders of 4 University of Idaho students. And now a judge could soon decide on a trial date for the man charged in the deaths. Joining us now is criminal trial attorney Sarah Azari. Sarah, thanks for being with us.
Of course, good to see you, Anna.
Well, it took authorities 6 weeks after the bodies were found to arrest the suspect in the first place. And now we're awaiting a trial date more than a year and a half later. So how soon do you think a trial date could be set? What's going on here?
I mean, to be honest with you, I would say mid to late 2025 at the earliest. And I'll tell you why, Anna. This is a quadruple homicide.
I think I said June.
Did you?
May. I think I said no. I think it was May. Does anybody remember? I think it was May or June. I'll have to look back at the old episode. Those glasses.
Homicide case is a death penalty case. Death penalty case is like a trial within a trial. I've personally never had a murder case get to trial in less than 2 years. There's been a lot of discovery issues here. Only recently that forensic investigative genealogy was turned over to the defense in its totality with some limitations. The defense needs a chance to vet this information. There's a lot of stuff that we don't even know about that the defense has to obviously vet to be able to challenge a trial. And then, of course, death penalty requires a lot of mitigation work. So there's a reason why it's taking so long. A lot of it has to do with the prosecution withholding the discovery, whether it was intentional or for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. It's that only recently has the defense gotten most of what it needs, and there needs to be an opportunity to, consult with experts and prep for trial. And I know, it's hard for the victims. Yeah. They want their day in court, and so does Kohberger.
Well, I think we should
see. That's why I like her so much, and she's cute as hell too. That's why I like her so much, because she's not part of the narrative train. She actually speaks the fucking truth, and that's why I think she's a great. The podcast she has, anytime, like when she came on News Nation, I was like, awesome, because I know Brian Hinton will do the same thing. Sometimes he gets a little sucked in, but Brian is usually, just like Sarah. I know, that's what I'm saying. It is strange on News Nation, because when she came there, I was like, because I didn't know who she was when she first came to News Nation. And I'm sitting there, first introduction, I'm like, what is all this? What's all the sprinkles on top of the ice cream for? What's all this for? Like the wild, just the wildness, I'm just like, what? Who is this? And then you start to listen to her and you're like, she's speaking the damn truth, man. Like with any of these cases that they talk about or learn about, it's just speaking the damn truth. So it is strange. You think so? They're gonna blind. It is strange, but that's why I like her, because it's one of the people there on News Nation that I can actually listen to and be like, I totally respect their opinion. The other ones, not so much. We just have fun.
Should backtrack just a little bit. So this is Brian Kohberger, who we're looking at here in the orange jumpsuit. Can you unpack this for our viewers who maybe haven't been following it, with a microscope, like some folks? Can you just unpack it? Tell us, in a few sentences, what happened in the first place?
There was in Moscow, Idaho, there was a home. It was these more than four college students living in that home. And 4 of these college students were slayed while they were sleeping in early morning hours in November of 2022. And so after 6 weeks of investigation, law enforcement identified Kohberger based on genetic genealogy as the only suspect in this case. There's been a lot of issues with genetic genealogy. There's been the fact that the DNA that everybody's jumping on is touch DNA. It doesn't tell us that Kohberger was at the crime scene. It just tells us that at some point he came in contact with this knife sheath that has the touch DNA on it. So there's a lot of, exculpatory evidence. There's cell tower, cell phone evidence that the prosecution said because his phone was not connecting to the towers near this home during the window of the murder, then that's him, because typically criminals turn off their phones when they commit a crime. On the other hand, he has an alibi that he recently lodged in court that says basically, I drive around late at night and I look at stars, whatever. We might think it's weird, but that is his alibi. So in order to support that alibi, Anna, he's brought in an expert who testified before the court who said there are these other towers that he could have been connected to, showing that he was somewhere else. And guess what happened? Turns out that the law enforcement dropped the ball on this and did not map out the cell tower information, which to its loss. So lack of evidence that normally would have otherwise existed is exculpatory evidence for Kohberger.
And it's fucking bullshit, because if you have a quadruple homicide happen in your community and you're doing an investigation, you're telling me right now you ain't gonna give it 150? Oh, we didn't bother to keep it. We didn't bother.
Yeah.
When it comes to this DNA at the crime scene, watch this video right here that I did way back then, and you'll see the kind of bullshit effort these people gave to the victims inside the crime scene and the families. Contamination before they even came in the frickin' door, and you can see it right on video. It's bullcrap. And when it comes to the touch DNA on the knife sheath, I think it was one of the victims. Because that touch DNA, where it was at, how minute it was, to me, that's a leftover of DNA that probably was put on there from a while back. And who says somebody didn't... Hey man, I'm selling a knife. I need a couple extra bucks. I'm short on money this month. College. College, right? Then all of a sudden somebody else buys... Oh, hey, here's a gift for you, Maddie. Here's a gift for you, Kaylee. Here's a gift for you to keep you guys... Because we've heard about the people running around pretending to be cops, coming in houses and stuff. We heard all the stories about all the wild crap that was going on there. And why wouldn't you want somebody to have... It's not a poo-poo. It's not one of those. It's just a knife. Something that's easy, small, you can set on your nightstand if somebody comes in and, you need to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Why would the sheath be laying on in between both of them? To me, I think one of them grabbed it, and I think it was Kaylee, because I think Maddie was the first one. She wasn't able to... Probably woke up to it happening. I'm just being honest. Probably woke up to it happening, unfortunately. And then Kaylee, the way that she was found, probably woke up and heard some things. You heard about the talk from upstairs. Huh? What? Because she was always really aware. We've heard the family say she was extra aware. Huh? What? And all of a sudden, she reaches over to the nightstand and grabs it. Wake up, Maddie. Wake up, Maddie. Maddie's probably passed the F out. Wake up, Maddie. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. You can't say nothing too loud because you just heard somebody. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Shaking. Can't wake up. You reach over and grab it, and you go up into the corner because the person's already there when you woke up. That's why you didn't go out the sliding glass door or the window, because it was already too late. You would have been opening up the window and they would have came in, because they would have heard you. They might even have came in before you even got to the window. So I think she grabbed it because she didn't know who it was. Why would you think that somebody's coming in there, broke in to do what they're going to do? You're going to think maybe you're hearing a there's a stranger coming in. Maybe it's a friend of somebody that lives downstairs. Who the hell is this? You're just going to grab it. And then when somebody comes in the door, you instantly take it out of the sheath. And then you go to try and defend yourself. And at that point, that person already won that battle. That's why the sheath, because you would have been holding the sheath in the other hand. The person that committed the crime is not going to hold the sheath and then hold this, because they're going to need this hand to block or do whatever with while they're doing this with this hand. They're not going to be holding the sheath. They need this hand. Only the person that would be, I don't know if I need to put it back in to the sheath because I don't know whoever's coming in is that kind of a threat or not. I definitely don't want to use it on somebody. Oh, that's Jimmy quit. Then you put it back in. That's the only reason to me why I feel like it had to be one of the victims and not necessarily the person.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. You would think these investigators, this is 4 college students. Now, each one is equal. I'm not saying one is more important than the next. What I'm saying is that's a small-ass college town in the middle of frickin' nowhere. They've never had this happen before, and it just came out of nowhere. Why wouldn't the people that are investigating this? This is a major. This was 4 people in one house.
Yeah.
That's major. In the middle of nowhere. Why would they not keep their homework?
Exactly. And they said, a lot of people in the case said they hadn't seen that before, like 4. I also haven't. 4 is, like you say, it's major.
Right. Were there any serial? There was something going on in where Portland? That back at this. I'm trying to remember back then. It's almost. It's a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. I could have swore there was something going on in like Portland, maybe. Does that sound familiar, anybody? There was something in Portland, I think. But still, I don't see. Come on, we know when we know all the. How do I say this? We know a lot of the rich older men that are connected politically and through the university and through the government for the state. We know the kind of things that, money and,
influence.
Right. Apps that you can get funds from, stuff like that. A lot of that going on. So, who knows? Out of the middle of nowhere, I don't see like an SK driving by going, hey, I'm going to hop off on this road and either take a left to Washington State or a right to University of Idaho, and I'm going to pick one. I don't see that. Because that's like way in the hell up there. Like you're so close to Canada, man. Like that's way the hell up there. Or even driving from, I know it's, why Moscow? Why not like a bigger city, you know? Why not Spokane?
Yeah.
Why not a bigger city if it really is an SK? Because if you think about it, if you're an SK, I would think it would be easier to get away with that crime in Spokane.
Yeah, it almost feels like they are comfortable with the area as well, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Especially
still
that
don't.
house.
Yeah.
Where the house is at.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird area. I remember when I first pulled in there, and it was like, whoa, this is so freaking cramped. Like, and literally when I'm driving through there, it's like, okay, when am I gonna have to like pull into the freaking curb or something, because two cars ain't gonna fit going like this. Yeah, wasn't happening. Like, here, I'll show you. Let's see. Gotta see what video it was. I think it was maybe this one. Let's see here. No, that's not it. Is it? Oh, there's that A&W. So good. Yeah, look at these roads. All right. Where's that thing at? Look at these roads. Let's go full screen. Like, weird ass roads. So we're going to be pulling up to where the crime scene was at here in a second. Hey. That thing was just all over the place. A lot of bumps. There's the tower. So off to the right is going to be the Sigma Chi house there. It was so beautiful there, man. It was a great atmosphere, great experience. Other than this, because as soon as I turned on this road, I already started, my gut started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I've gotten so much better taking my footage. This is crazy. Look at how, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, how do you turn, like, how do you have two cars, like, right there, that truck just passed me.
Yeah.
Like, this is some close shit. And then I'm right on the damn curb. Can you imagine if somebody opened their door as somebody was, look at how close we are. So then imagine when it's at night. I'm not going to get the video and show you what it looks like at night because I want to get into some other things, but look at how cramped this is. It's so freaking cramped. Good luck trying to have two cars go down. Like every couple feet, I had to be like, okay, where do I go if a car's coming in the opposite direction? Where do I go? Chrysler 300. Undercover. Oh yeah, that's right. The FBI was all over that place too when I went there.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Until I seen that video, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. There were agents all over there. That's right. Hi. What's up, agent? All right, we'll go back to this real quick. Yeah, really small streets. Really small streets. And then there's the, gosh. That was before it was torn down. Yeah. And it also showed you how somebody could have stalked them. Because at nighttime, this is what it looks like at nighttime. So when you're seeing that at night and you're seeing this, you're like, wow, creepy.
Very
creepy. All right, let me get back to this here. Oh, that was a long time ago. It's crazy. It doesn't seem that long ago, but it is. Oh, let me throw this back up here too.
There you go. Well, what other evidence do they have? What will they be presenting?
Well, from what we know, I mean, look, I know what you show, right? And so this has been under a gag order. We don't know any evidence of motive. We don't know any connection that Kohberger may have had to any of these victims. What we don't know is far more than what we do know. What we do know is that his DNA was on a knife sheath found next to one of the bodies. What we do know is that there was no evidence of biological material or cleanup, which is very odd for after slaying 4 people. What we do know is that his cell phone was not pinging the towers near that Kings Road home where the 4 victims were slayed. We know very little. And the fact that genetic genealogy, the investigation led to him as a suspect, which led to his arrest. So again, there's a lot more we don't know than we do know. And as I see it so far, it's a very defensible case for Kohberger.
Yeah.
All right. We're on our way out, but you think he'll be found guilty? Is it too soon to tell?
Too soon to tell.
It's too come on. It's too soon to tell. But she already told you what she said. I mean, here we can listen to it again. It's truth.
The investigation led to him as a suspect, which led to his arrest. So again, there's a lot more we don't know than we do know. And as I see it so far, it's a very defensible case for Kohberger.
All right, we're on our way out, but
very defensible case for Kohberger. It is. You see it happen, and you're like, whoa, you'll see it on Thursday. I believe it's 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern. So we'll be on a little bit before the court hearing starts, getting into some of the other stuff. Let's see. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Let's go to this Drunk Turkey Show episode here. Actually, hold on. Let me double check. See if there's anything else coming out. Whoa. Hold on a minute.
Much better chance that you could actually get off the bike.
A motorcycle in a high-speed chase?
No cars behind him. We really saw that indication because when he did pull into the gas station, it looked like he really wasn't thinking about getting gas, or if he was just trying to scope out the territory first and stop.
This dude's on a crotch rocket he just gave he's hand signaling that he's turning. Oh, he's giving up. Oh, okay. Sorry, I just seen that. I was like, a freaking motorcycle. Whoa, this is about to be wild. Sorry. All right, hold on. That was wild. Okay. Let me get back to this. Okay, new book claims targeted. Author makes wild claims. Let me see. Detective Mowry. New book, fact or fiction. New book, something gonna happen in the Brian Kohberger matter. Scott Reich. We'll check that out maybe on court day. Andrew D. Myers doing a lot of good videos, law and crime. Let me see. Oh my gosh, this Doug Wilson guy. Yeah, there's the Living in North 10 Painful Mistakes. Should we watch it real quick? Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to play it for you guys real quick. Living life in North Idaho. This is the guy I was telling you about. He's trying to sell you a house, but he's telling you how you're going to be miserable when you do it. All right.
Imagine finding and buying.
Hold on. This shit's crazy. So here's the channel. Oh, this shit's wild. Oh, and then we'll get to the Howard Bloom stuff. This shit's crazy. Oh boy. As seen on Fox News channel. Okay. You see that little Fox News banner? As seen on Fox News. Why would they have him on Fox News?
I don't know.
Huh. Oh no, that's weird. How much? Okay, here we go.
Find your perfect piece of property. 5, 10, 50 acres, the most pristine land you've ever seen. You start to develop the plans to put your custom home on, and you realize, oh shoot, we never got that perk test that the realtor mentioned. We better get that done. Perk test comes back, it failed. The water does not absorb fast enough, or maybe it's absorbing too fast, which means you can't put a septic system on that land. Now you might have a piece of property that you cannot build on. You think, that's fine. We will just sell the property, go find something else. But that, my friend, is an adverse material fact. And that property is not going to be worth very much because you can't build on it. That is just one of several stories I'm about to share with you of some of the biggest mistakes we've seen when people buy land. Hope you grab a pen and piece of paper because I'm about to save you a whole bunch of time, money, and stress. Let's go. I've been in this area for 32 years, and my team and I have helped dozens of people find their perfect piece of property here in North Idaho. Now, I'd like to say that we have an absolutely perfect, stellar record, but that's not true. We've had a couple of clients that didn't decide to take our advice, and they experienced some pretty bad stuff, lost a bunch of money. So today I'm going to be telling you the 10 biggest mistakes people make when buying land here in North Idaho. So hopefully you can avoid those mistakes. Save yourself a whole bunch of time, money, and stress. So going back to that story, what is a percolation test? Well, percolation means how quickly does the water absorb into the ground or doesn't absorb into the ground. So when you're putting a septic system in, a lot of people don't know how those work. Septic systems keep the sludge in the bottom, and then the water comes up and goes out once it's gotten rid of the sludge. Now, if it's percolating too quickly, absorbing, it's going to get into the groundwater. It's going to put bad bacteria in there, make people sick.
Yeah.
Or if it doesn't absorb fast enough, it's going to back into your septic system. Now, there are some other options if you can't do a septic system, but not every area is going to allow that. So yeah, you want to make sure you get that percolation test done. Next, you want to get that appraisal. Now, we have a lot of cash buyers. When you're buying with cash, you don't have to have an appraisal. Some people think we're going to save ourselves some money. Let's not get that appraisal. But the fact is, you have no idea if you are going to be overpaying for that property or not. Also, if it comes back lower than the actual asking price, you now have more negotiating power. So don't save that money. You might not be saving any money. You might be losing it in the cost of the property. So go ahead and cough up the money, get that appraisal. Don't skip it. The next big mistake we see people make is they do not look deeply enough into the conditions, covenants, and restrictions of an area or the deed restrictions on that property. Now, what that means, those are the specific rules that have been written into law for what is allowed to be done in that area or on the property itself. So say you want to get 20 acres and your dream is to have a dirt bike track and open it up to the public so that they can come and play on it. That might be my dream, to be honest. But the fact is that not every area is going to allow that. Sometimes there's deed restrictions that say, no, you need to leave the land as it is as best you can. You can put a dwelling and a shop, but you can't change much on it. Or let's keep it more simple. Let's say you want to get some property and you just want to have cows and sheep and chickens, and you think, I'm way out in the country. Of course I can do that. Not necessarily. If you didn't look close enough at those CC&Rs and those deed restrictions, you could definitely be making a huge mistake. And it's important to remember, this is how it's going to affect your property value. If you're allowed to do something, so is your neighbor. So you might think, I'm never going to start a pig farm. That's never going to happen. Well, your neighbor might not feel that way. And you can bet that if you have a pig farm next to your property value just went down significantly.
Yeah.
Now, the fourth mistake, we see this happen quite
That's
a bit.
gross.
People will only...
I mean, I know there's. I'm from the city. I'm sorry. I don't want to smell fucking pig shit. That would be horrible. Now, some people live out in the country. They're used to it. That's cool. I'm not saying anything. Yuck. But if you're living out in land that is for farming, I mean, what do you expect?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know who knows? Hey, he was seen on Fox News. Excellent points.
I feel like he's running out of ideas, but okay.
Well, yeah, you should get an appraisal. Who would buy a fucking house without getting it? Like, why wouldn't you get... Like, I bought a house before. Yes, check for termites. Yes, check for its house inspections. All these inspections. This is a humongous investment.
Yeah.
You're gonna, like, yes, if you can't afford to do the checks, then get a cheaper house. Because I'm telling you right now, like, it's not good. Yeah, we just put the roof on a couple years ago. Really, you buy the house, all of a sudden, shit, fuck, the roof's leaking already.
Don't you have to get certificates before you sell the house?
Oh no,
Compliance certificates?
you can sell it as is. If the buyer,
Really?
fuck yeah. If you can find somebody, if you want to just sell it the way it is, and trust me, there's people out there that'll be like, I ain't worried about getting this checked and that checked and that checked. And they'll just...
Here it's the law. You have to get a certificate for insects, wiring, some other things. You can't just sell the house. You have to get a certificate.
If you want to. If you want to, you can just
compulsory here.
Sell it for $1 damn if you want.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, it's up to the buyer to do that. So, yeah, everything's up to the buyer, and that's between the buyer and the seller. Yeah, like they can just you could buy a house that didn't even have nothing in it, just walls, didn't even have wiring, plumbing, nothing. You just buy it. Okay. You give it to somebody. There's just property tax you have to pay, but other than that, it's all up to the buyer over here. It's all on the buyer. It's all on the buyer. I don't know who in the hell, like, you shouldn't, if you can't get I wouldn't. There's no way in hell, man. Because it's like, why buy a lemon vehicle? You're going to go to a car lot and they're selling you a Mercedes-Benz price, and you drive it off the lot, and a week and a half later, the engine blows. So what are you supposed to, like, that's a lot of negative equity. You're paying for something you don't even fucking use. Like, what is the point? You could be paying for a house, a year later, the damn thing falls apart, and you have to spend $80,000 to repair and update, and you don't have that money because you just spent all the other money on this and that. Next thing you know, you end up foreclosing, and who knows what happened. Or you just sell it dirt ass cheap and lose a lot of money. It pays to do your background checks. Yeah, it's crazy, Tiffany. We covered it this morning when we first started. What the hell? Like, I haven't heard anything. That's what I was. At first, I thought it was gummies or something, kind of like when we were reading Micah's stuff, with the the stuff, the chemicals that were, the THC and the gummies. Who cares? It's legal in most of the country anyway. It's not that big of a deal to me. When I saw the domestic,
Yeah.
I was like, what? Okay, what's the story? It's been 5 days. It's been 5 days since it took place. So I'm surprised there's not a story out there discussing what took place. Yeah, well, it's very shocking. I'll just say that. Right, Samantha? Need to see the Carfax. Yeah. Something you don't even use. That's why I'm having a hard time trying to find something else, because I'm like, I have to find the right thing, because I'm not trying to pay for something
Yeah.
I can't damn use. Well, that's a nut. That he's just saying shit that you should do anyway. I see a lot of stuff about not that we're going to go into it today, but I see a lot of stuff on. If you guys were here with us a year and a half ago, we covered the East Palestine train derailment, chemical spill.
Oh.
Yeah, they had a train derailed. It was like 20, 30 cars derailed. And this chemical that makes like PVC pipe, and it's a really toxic plastic, but it's in liquid form. And it started spewing out in clouds. And these people just walked over to it and threw a match to, we'll just light it on fire to get rid of it. Yeah, that's not, it's not good. They're actually having a press conference right now. We'll check that out sometime here in the future. Hold on. It's sad. Like within the first week, there's so much wildlife that died. Fish, deer, everything that was in Mother Nature. Was just found. Wasn't good. And the government never did anything about it. They just kind of, I think how long did it take Biden to show up there, you guys? It was like 7-8 months, I think. Do you,
Months.
Joan? Yeah, it was a long time. Joan, how long did it take Biden to show up? Because they were all dismissing it. They were all dismissing the shit.
Wow.
Hold on. Here, let me, I'll just play one quick video real quick.
Yeah.
Investigation into the East Palestine train derailment. In a series of meetings, we could learn why tankers full of toxic chemicals were just burned off in the middle of town. New safety recommendations for the rail industry could also be coming up. But residents in East Palestine, Ohio say they're losing their health and their homes, while Norfolk Southern walks away with just a slap on the wrist. News Nation chief investigative reporter Rich.
Yeah. And so there was actual video that came out at another train station where one of the wheels had caught on fire, of the train before it got to the destination where the accident took place. Nobody warned anybody. So there was warning signs that something bad was going to happen. Nobody warned anybody. It got to the location it went to. It was going too fast, and it had way too many cars on the train, and it was using. They have these double barrel tanker cars that they use for situations like this, where if there's a derailment, something can happen, and it has like an extra layer of protection to prevent chemicals from leaking. They weren't even using those because they weigh heavier and they cost more to use. So they were just doing it on the cheap. And it just crashed at that point because the fire had taken place, burned up the wheels on one of the tankers, and then all of a sudden, wobble, wobble, boom, 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 piled up. Just boom, 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 piled up. And then all of a sudden, gas start thick green and yellow gas started coming out. Thick green and yellow gas, where it was so thick you couldn't see what was behind the damn gas. It wasn't smoke like that where you can kind of see, like, you know, it has like a translucent effect to it. No, this shit was like gas from Batman. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And they just oh, no, nothing. You know, the guy was like, we have 1,700 of these a year. Like it's normal. Really? Really?
McHugh joining me this morning. He's been in East Palestine since the very beginning of this disaster. Good morning, Rich. What are people there telling you ahead of these meetings?
Hey, good morning, Hannah. They're saying literally the same thing that they've been saying. I was at this hearing last year. They're saying the same thing that they've said all along. They're not getting the federal help that they need. They're sick. They can't get in their homes. They can't get their homes tested. They're still finding vinyl chloride here. There's just so many things that are unanswered for them. And they're angry. The NTSB is about to kick off this hearing at 9:30 this morning. They're going to drill down on two questions: why the train derailed.
Look at
and the
that.
other focus of the meeting is why the release of the toxic chemicals into the atmosphere.
They were like, there's no smoke trail. There's no smoke trail. You saw the smoke fucking the whole state and beyond.
Yeah.
From the satellite. These chemicals don't travel. Yeah. Because they get a lot of kickbacks. That's why this is the rail companies here. This is you'll shit, Rose. The rail companies here dictate their own rules and regulations.
The rail companies do.
Yeah, that would be like public citizens determining the laws of the road while they're driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
The government don't. The government don't. You know why?
okay.
Kickbacks. Hey,
Yeah.
we're going to donate all these funds to you for your campaign. Just do us a favor. Let us make up the speed limit.
Yeah.
Let
play with
us,
safety.
yeah, let us make the regulations. Trust me, we're going to do it the right way. We want to be safe. This is our business here. But this shit right here, that's chump change in their pocket. Especially the way that they dealt with these, because what they were doing was they were going to a lot of these community members that had to hurry up and move to a frickin' hotel with their family because they couldn't live there. So they already had to spend money they probably didn't have to live somewhere. And then they were really financially strapped because they're like, shit, you guys, we're already out of our funds. And so that's when the insurance company for the train company was walking around saying, we'll write you a $2,500 check that'll help you get caught back up, sir. You just can't sue us. Sorry, family. We got to take it. We got to take the $2,500. And then people were forced to take a fucking small ass check just to try and make sure that their whole life didn't fall apart when they didn't even do anything wrong. And the insurance companies were getting away with just writing a little last check because they couldn't get in trouble anymore from that particular person because they gave up the right to sue them. That's what took place here. When this train company could have literally bought this little ass fucking town, bought all of these people's homes, bought all of these people new homes in another frickin' area, and used this as an experiment. Test the soil 10 years from now. Test the water 10 years from now. Test the building structures. Use this disaster as your own study on what the hell takes place long term with these kind of accidents. Gain some knowledge, because the cost of you buying this whole freaking city and moving these people elsewhere is also chump change to your ass, and I don't understand. It really is. It's a trip on the yacht for all the executives for one weekend.
Which is not necessary.
Yeah, to pay for this, make it your own, because what's better, okay? You take a positive out of it. Should have never happened in the first place. It should have never happened in the first place. But what you can do is do the right thing. These people didn't do nothing but were in bed, or having their dinner or getting home from work. They weren't doing nothing but living everyday life. And then something happens because of your negligence when you had an advanced warning and you didn't do what you were supposed to, which could have prevented this. You could have stopped the train before it happened. It can't be that expensive.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Wow, yeah.
It's gross. All right. I just wanted to show that real quick. Now we're going to switch to this this episode, Drunk Turkey Show with Howard Blum. How come I can't? Why is it putting top chat at the bottom? YouTube, quit changing your shit, because you're not fixing your shit that didn't work before you start changing your shit. Please fix your shit. All right, here's Drunk Turkey link. What is the timestamp? I saw somebody type it in there. What is the timestamp for the episode Howard Blum starts talking about his theory? Wait a minute. Detective, I don't know if that timestamp, that's what I don't know if that timestamp is for the video you posted right above it or for this one. Let me know. Or no, that might be for that one. Hold on. Does anybody have the timestamp where he starts discussing his theory? Let's see. Let's go to
now, and has a book coming out here in the next few days, week or so, June 25th, When the Night Comes Following. Howard, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Did he go on there too? Is he on that episode with the Detective Mowry stuff? Because I don't know if we'll do the Megyn Kelly stuff. We might. I do want to watch at least one episode of hers, because I think they did like 6 parts or something. But I don't want to like watch the whole thing. I would like to just watch where he starts to. Maybe somebody said 7 minutes, maybe.
I thought I saw something with a 7. Yeah.
7 minutes. All right. We'll
Like
go to
that.
7 minutes. Here's the link to the whole video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We might check out a little bit later on in another show. Here's the link for that. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're just going to watch him discuss the theory. Then I do want to watch some of the Megyn Kelly stuff. And then I'm going to get to... Thank you, David. And then I'm going to get to some of the other stuff that we have saved for you today. All right. So this is 7... All right. Right here, he gets into the theory. And shout out for Drunk Turkey Show for having Howard Blum on. I'd like to have him on sometime. Ask him where in the hell he came up with this shit. I'd like to.
It's a good question.
You know, this is the case that made us a true crime show. This case right here. So trust me, there's a lot of knowledge with from the very beginning. I didn't just start doing. We were there. We started covering it, and I was like, this shit don't make no sense. And then all of a sudden, we're a true crime channel. So no sports.
Somewhat at a root or a cause to this. So you've gone back and forth to Moscow several times for your book. How many sources would you say you have that helped you compile everything that's in it?
One of the things, as we agreed before I went on, the book comes out June 25th, and until it does, I'm sort of bound by some non-disclosure agreements I've signed. I'm going to be ABC, Nightline, and Good Morning America, and I can't say too much of the specifics. That sounds, very.
So why not do the interview after? Oh my gosh. I got obligation. I can't, because he probably does. I can't say, I can't say certain things because, I already made a deal with such and such to have exclusive details for them, for each of these.
It's almost like he's there to advertise the other shows he's going to be on.
Yeah. Hey, let me put in this plug real quick. Hey, before we get to what we agreed to talk about, let me tell you what's coming out, right? Self-plugging. I mean, you got to. I mean, shoot, that's one of the, people say, why don't you promote yourself more? I was like, I can't do the self-plugs. I'm sorry. I can't. I'll go support other people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna do it." No, I don't know. I just say thank you for your hard work. Appreciate you. It's nothing about that. So I don't know. Why not have the interview after? Howard Blum, come talk.
For your book, how many sources would you say you have that helped you compile everything that's in it?
One of the things, as we agreed before I went on, the book comes out June 25th, and until it does, I'm sort of bound by some non-disclosure agreements I've signed. I'm going to be ABC, Nightline, and Good Morning America, and I can't say too much of the specifics. That sounds, very tantalizing. I apologize. But talking to people, when I was at the Times, I had a city editor, Sidney Schamberg, who was a famous Pulitzer Prize winner. The movie The Killing Fields was made about him in Cambodia, and he was sort of a mentor to me. And I remember being stuck on a story in the South Bronx. I had spent several months on it. It was an intricate story involving murders and voodoo and drug trafficking, actually 28 murders. And I couldn't quite get it. And Sidney said, people talk. That's the one rule you have to remember. You keep on pushing, you keep on knocking on doors, and people talk. And so eventually, I did get people to talk, and not just in Moscow, but also in Pennsylvania, which is in it. One of the things, as we agreed before I went on, the book comes out June 25th, and until it does, I'm sort of bound by some non-disclosure agreements I've signed. I'm going to be ABC, Nightline.
I just wanted to let him go through the whole list again. Shout out,
And Good Morning America, and I can't say too much of the specifics. That sounds, very tantalizing. I apologize. But talking to people,
Jay for Justice is having him on Friday. Come hang out with us on Friday with Jay for Justice.
Was at the Times, I had a city editor, Sidney Schamberg, who was a famous Pulitzer Prize winner. The movie The Killing Fields was made about him in Cambodia, and he was sort of a mentor to me. And I remember being stuck on a story in the South Bronx. I had spent several months on it. It was an intricate story involving murders and voodoo and drug trafficking, actually 28 murders. And I couldn't quite get it. And Sidney said,
people talk. That's the one rule you have to remember. You keep on pushing, you keep on knocking on doors, and people talk. And so eventually, I did get people to talk, and not just in Moscow, but also in Pennsylvania, which is a real part of the story, and in Washington State, and sort of persistence. And because of the gag order, while I had these original sources, what I tried to do was something the FBI did. They built this case by building a family tree of genetic clusters, investigative genetic genealogy, and they sort of had this tree till the limbs reached out to Brian Kohberger. Well, I sort of did that in reverse with the help of a researcher. I went through families of people who were close to people involved in the case. And if the actual family members couldn't talk to, I took it for granted that they might have talked to their relatives. And the more I started banging on doors, making phone calls, going to different restaurants and bars with different people, I was able to get family members to talk a great deal. For example, one of the key stories I tell, and the book is sort of structured about this, fascinating cross-country trip that Brian takes with his father not long after the murders as he returns home. Well, they're sitting in this little Hyundai Elantra. They're, about just shoulders apart. There've been 4 murders in the town. Michael Kohberger knows that his son has had problems. You have to believe that they had some sort of discussion of what was going on. And Michael had talked to relatives and people about it, and I was able to get real insight of what went on that trip across America. And the book sort of uses that trip as an anchor to tell the story. In many ways, is like Odysseus' 10-year trip home in the Odyssey. I tell this 4-day trip to go back and forth in time and tell this whole story and have it sort of unravel. So it's a compelling narrative.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to. Is that an echo that I'm hearing? I'm looking forward to hearing it. Reading it. I've already pre-ordered, guys. The book is coming out June 25th. I have in the description, linked in there, the link for Amazon so that you can go and pre-order this book. So you yourself didn't speak with Michael Kohberger directly, is that correct?
One of the things I'm not going to do is tell you who I spoke with or who I didn't speak with, because people who did speak to me spoke in confidence because of the gag order. But I will say, and I think readers will see, that I'm able to get inside the minds of many of the characters in this book to make statements they made, and I hope, or the ambition, the literary ambition, is to make them come alive on the page. I want this not just to be an expose, but the subtitle of the book is a requiem for the Idaho student murders, and I want this almost to be like a memorial prayer to give the victims a sense of the memory, what the world has lost with the loss of their lives, and to make all the characters, the parents, the survivors, become real. In many ways, this is a story totally about victims, because in addition to the 4 people, the 4 young students who were murdered, their families are victims. The town of Moscow is a victim. And I think, as you'll see, Brian Kohberger's family is a victim too in all this. It's a dramatic story, but also a tragic one.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
Oh, yeah, man. I think yours doesn't have a nickel.
Mine?
Yeah.
I think so. I apologize, guys. I don't know why. You know what? I'm going to stop sharing. Maybe that'll stop that. Sorry about that. That loud noise kind of interrupted me. Well, going back to when you went there to Moscow initially, you said that police were open with you initially, and the gag order came in. I was watching one of your other interviews with Megyn Kelly, and it seemed like your opinions about the police work that was done in this case was questionable or maybe concerning at some points. Was that a sense that you got in the beginning, or is that a sense that it's kind of happened over time? And do you still feel that way?
It's become reinforced over time. What I give you a hint of what I talk about in the book. There was real animosity between the local Moscow task force and the FBI. They didn't work together as a well-functioning team. That allowed, I think, the suspect to remain at large for longer than he should have when he officially became a person of interest.
Let me rewind that again.
In all this, it's a dramatic story, but also a tragic one.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
Oh my lord!
Yeah, I think yours is having.
Sorry, guys.
Mine?
Yeah.
I think so. I apologize, guys. I don't know why. You know what? I'm gonna stop sharing. Maybe that'll stop that. So sorry about that. That loud noise kind of interrupted me. Well, going back to when you went there to Moscow initially, you said that police were open with you initially, and the gag order came in. I was watching one of your other interviews with Megyn Kelly, and it seemed like your opinions about the police work that was done in this case was questionable or maybe concerning at some points. Was that a sense that you got in the beginning, or is that a sense that it's kind of happened over time? And do you still feel that way?
It's become reinforced over time. What I give you a hint of what I talk about in the book. There was real animosity between the local Moscow task force and the FBI. They didn't work together as a well-functioning team. That allowed, I think, the suspect to remain at large for longer than he should have when he officially became a person of interest.
Okay. So I bet you this is where it came from. Because the local investigators were just running at fucking whatever was, the new shit stain of the day was where they were running. I always bring up the Oregon car. He's saying that the animosity grew between the FBI and the local law enforcement when Kohberger became a suspect. And I guarantee you, it's when the FBI expert that had all these multiple years of experience, 20, 30 years experience, coming up with vehicle descriptions and what vehicles were based off of minimal footage. They were telling them 2011 to 2013, and I bet you the day that they said, fuck this shit, was when they changed it to a 2015. I bet you that's when they went, what the fuck? And they were probably already mad because, like I said from the beginning, they were just going off the tip.
Yep.
FBI had to have went to him and said, look, this is just, we have to do more stuff. Here's just a little something that maybe, we might come up with. Here's just an idea. They didn't even take it seriously. They were still gung-ho about the Oregon car until they found out it was bunk, which I don't necessarily think it's bunk. Because if you look at the vehicle, where it's registered, who's associated with it.
True.
Left on the side of the road after a wreck. I don't know. I don't know if it's that bunk. But I think that's when the FBI was like, fuck this shit. And then that's when they were like, we're not giving you anything else that we've already given you everything. I don't think they were even really trying to help him out. After they gave him the tip and ran with it like they did, I guarantee you they were probably like, this is about to be a shit show. We don't want to have our hands dirty in it. Because they saw what was taking place. They saw how they were cornering basically Kohberger when it came to that lead. They jumped on it with the same veracity that they did with the Oregon car. Unfortunately, when they did the Oregon car, they still had another month until the semester was about to start. They had time. When Kohberger came around, they didn't have no time. The semester was starting in a week. They had to find somebody. And even after they found somebody, the fact that they had less than 50% attendance returning, can you imagine if they wouldn't have found the person? It probably would have been 10%.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to continue.
Because I can be pretty damned. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a parent of a student that was going to college out there and they were having to go back for the next semester and they didn't find the person who committed this crime, you're out of your fucking mind, child.
Mm-hmm.
You're out of your fucking mind, child.
No.
Your ass is transferring, or you're figuring out a way you can do the schooling online, something. Your ass ain't going back there, because I'm not about to hear about something that happened to you when I could have told you, no, you ain't doing it, child. That's when I would step in and be like, look, I don't care how bad you want to go to this school. I don't. I'm not getting a phone call that this crap happened to you because law enforcement couldn't do their damn job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that too, Tiffany. Bill, he's too damn cocky, smelling his own juice. And Taylor, it was crazy. It was like, I remember the day that Kohberger was arrested. And all of a sudden, because we were covering, oh my gosh, there's a cleaning crew outside the house. Same day Kohberger's arrested. We get done watching, going through the press conference where they're announcing Kohberger's arrest. And then all of a sudden we're getting word that the cleaning crew got shut down and got moved out. And now Ann Taylor and her and 3 or 4 other people are already at the house doing some investigating. And I'm sitting there going, you guys, Kohberger's not even in Idaho custody yet. He's still in Pennsylvania. What in the hell kind of defense attorney jumps, like a public defender jumps on some shit that's already across the country? He's not even in the system yet, and she's already ready out there getting an investigative team going. That's when I was like, yo, we need to look up who she is. And then we saw who she was. We saw how she goes after local people that are corrupt. And she uses the technicalities of the system to fuck them up. And you're seeing her do it right now. It's pretty sad when you have a defense attorney telling the judge what his responsibilities are as a judge.
Be a judge, yeah. I know.
Judge Gummy Judge. Judge John Floyd, you know? Right?
I appreciate that one.
middle name Gummy. Yeah. Look at the bright flashy stars, you guys. Can you see them? All in the courtroom. Can you see them, everybody? Yeah, AT is a fucking bomb.
She is.
I hope she goes. She's gonna, like, man, if y'all thought Johnny Cochran was popular, wait till Ann Taylor in this case is done. Ann Taylor's, she's gonna be everywhere. And I really hope, because there's been a lot of shows out there that have, I mean, we all know, a year ago when we were the same community that was preaching innocent before guilty in a court of law, especially when you're questioning all the weird oddities that come with the PCA and just even the crime route and what the police have theorized. DoorDash driver or serial killer. DoorDash drivers is what it looked like. There's so many different things, and a year ago, all of us were just getting ridiculed and attacked and slandered because we were sitting here questioning these things. You know, how could you sit there and question the route? He did this. You guys are spreading misinformation and theories and crazy speculation. It's like, no, we're just asking questions as if it was somebody we knew, or if it was even us, because if this could be us, imagine.
Exactly. I mean, people were really abusive. I was not expecting it. I really wasn't.
Yeah, crazy, like just the stuff that was being spewed. And now look at it. You know,
Yeah.
I remember I was being told I was fucking crazy last fall, when I was saying they ain't got no more. Watch, we're going to get to the early part of next year and they're still going to tell y'all we ain't have it. Oh, they're going to come out with a document dump in December. Yeah. Look, it's June already. It's
Yeah.
June already, and she's now just getting little bits of what she was asking for. It's horrible. And this guy's sources, yeah, you can't name your sources, but I don't know where he's getting his shit from. I really don't. It has to be LE.
Yeah. I mean, I have some concerns already. I mean, he's putting this whole thing out like it's a story with characters and a plot and a theme, and it's not. It's a real thing. These aren't characters. They don't need to come to life. They exist. You need to be true to who they are, not how you want them to look in a book. So I don't know about.
It's a great way.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder what that book is like. I guess hold on. It said the description. Hold on. It said the link for the book is in the description. Let me look here. Party present. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Here we go. Amazon link. $23. That's not bad. Audio book. $0 with membership. $14 available instantly. That's not bad. $14. I wonder how long of a read time it is. That's not bad at all. Let me save that. You got the audio free? What? There's you can get free with membership.
Is it the one with the membership? Yeah.
That's pretty cheap. Yeah. Let me look more into it. So we'll see. I'll see 5 hours and something. I'd rather read it though. I'll get the text version and I'll read it. And then maybe we can use the audio. Katrina, maybe use the audio version and you can make some clips or something too. That'd be cool. I got the free audio version on Amazon. I have Amazon Prime. Is that the membership? I don't spend $14 on toilet paper either. I only spend a couple. I mean, let's be honest. It's ass paper. Come on. I mean, you don't need the rest area brick toilet paper. You don't need that. But I mean, come on. You wipe it and you flush it. Do you really need Snuggles?
Snuggles.
Right? Do you really need Snuggles? I'm just, you don't need the brick because you don't need the rest area brick. It's horrible. Trust me. I use it all the time. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. But yeah, you don't. Who spends $14 on toilet paper? That's just because you want the two bears, talking about how soft it is. Hey, it gets flushed.
I'm getting so confused. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. We went into a Charmin conversation. I apologize. Hey, sometimes we do that.
Brian Kohberger to the FBI. They did not share this immediately with the Moscow Police Department. Also, when the Moscow Police Department, people took time, even in Washington State too, there was the bolo for the white Hyundai Elantra. That was released, I think, on November 25th. I don't think it was till the 29th of November that the Washington State Police, 10 miles away, got around to looking at it. And then when they finally find a car that they identified a Kohberger, well, what happens to that official report? That's one of the stories that I reveal in the book, and I think it will both astonish and infuriate readers.
Really? Sorry about that. I don't know why this echo is coming through here. In the book, you're going to it's not just Michael or Brian Kohberger's father that you're kind of going through. It's also the victim's parents as well. Or is there a specific parent that is the focal point?
Well, I do write about Steve Goncalves a bit. I mean, your heart goes out to him, or at least mine does. Here's a man who says, you send your daughter off to college and she comes back to you in an urn. How, as a human being, I'm a father of three, how can you not feel for him? And I also think what he decides to do is damn heroic. He decides, I'm not just going to sit back passively and wait for things to get done. This is my daughter. I'm going to try to do whatever I can to get to the bottom of things. And he does many things. And his facing up to the challenge is one part of the story, and how it turns him. As I've written about, he's one of the major supporters of the Utah bill, of the Idaho bill that was passed, 186, for a firing squad. I mean, he's become a victim of all this. And Michael Kohberger's father, who's, as you'll read, I hope, is refusing, slowly but surely he's following the footsteps where they lead him of what his son might be involved in. And he's just afraid to confront it. It's too overpowering. The idea that your son might be a suspect in a quadruple murder is I guess, has to be any father. And so it's a story of one family and another family and of two fathers and how they deal with this horrible, horrific situation that they've been caught up in.
Oh, yeah, it's a horrible situation, especially losing his
Oh my
his
God.
daughter.
It sounds like a freaking. Does he mess with spirit boxes?
Sounds like
Is-
it.
Don't go
Yeah,
in.
no.
Yes, don't go inside there.
It's the sources.
Stay away from that. Like, what the fuck is this shit?
For at college, like the way he did.
Don't go.
I was gonna ask you, since you've been there a few times since the house has been demolished, have you seen the site?
It's creeping me out.
Yes.
I'm back.
It's creeping me out too. It's like, stay away from the wall. What? I'm hearing shit now. Are you hearing anything, Rosie? You hearing anything subliminal?
I'm hearing it.
I'm hearing stay away from the water. I don't know. Okay.
No, I have seen the site, and demolishing the house is strange I understand what the university was trying to do. This was the university's decision. They were trying to exorcise all the ghosts from the past. They think if they tore down the house, all the demons would disappear. And I think that's, fatuous.
Not demons, the memories of it taking place. It's not demons. They wanted people to forget as soon as possible that it even took place. You get rid of the house. It's like, that's why I fucking said, fuck my fear of flying, because I already know it's going to be torn down in a couple weeks. As soon as I seen the FBI out there on Halloween, I booked my flight a couple days later, and I was out there within 2 weeks. Yeah, I think it was a week and a half of the FBI being out there, starting to be out there. That's when I was like, yeah, these guys are going to tear this shit down. I better go now. Otherwise, I ain't going to be able to get the footage of the house there. They wanted that. Who's going to go there without the house now? Let's be honest. Without the house, you're not even going to go there. So they wanted to get rid of the house to help people forget. It's a new rotation of students coming in every year. So within a couple years, whoever was living there when the crime took place is gone at that point, in just a matter of a couple years. And then you get rid of anybody else that was going there to visit the property to bring the awareness. It was not demons. It was to get rid of the memory. You can't just wipe something like that away, and that's what they're trying to do. Let's just hurry up, try and convict somebody. Let's charge them with a DP and look at what they're missing for evidence. Come on now. Let's just get rid of it ASAP. We don't care if we fail. Look at their prior cases. It's disgusting how it goes up there. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that I was able to go out there and get all the footage and actually, because it's a different thing when you're there experiencing it. Just like Lumber River State Park, we're going to be going back there again. When you're there experiencing it, it's like I could sit here and go, yeah, the fisherman, okay, maybe he could have got the bag. When I'm there, ain't no damn way that fisherman's getting her bag. How in the hell? Without seeing her? Not happening.
Reasoning, until there is a trial, until there is everything is explained, there's a guilty or innocent verdict, a motive is put forward, perhaps, is getting rid of the murder house is just something the university is doing, I think, to make sure they're able to continue to have a large enrollment. They don't want prospective students to see this and to be scared away. And I think it was a mistake for them to turn it down. In the early days, before the house was torn down, I went out there on a snowy night and I stood in front of it in the darkness, and it's incredibly quiet. They have a plywood frame erected over the door, and I'm thinking to myself, was that put up to keep people out or to keep the demons that are at large in that house inside so they don't spread out? And I'm thinking there, having these thoughts, and suddenly a light shines on me and I'm trapped in it, startling me, putting an end to my thoughts. And my initial thinking was, well, this is what it must have been to wake up in the middle of the night out of this darkness. And the one, Zaina's comment, there's someone here, suddenly be surprised. And the light that trapped me, suddenly a voice called out and said, be careful out there. It's icy and slippery. I don't want you to fall. And there was a security car parked catty corner. It was black. I hadn't seen it, and was able suddenly to flash the light on me. I thanked him. He was being very polite, and I walked off. But you can see what it must have been in the middle of the night in that house to wake up and to see someone standing over you in black with a mask on and a hunting knife in his hand.
Yeah, that's horrific. I mean, that's something that, like, after this incident had occurred, I always checked my doors when I went to sleep, but afterwards I double check, triple check, especially, the back door, front door, garage, everything, because you just never know. This is a small town, small community, so you wouldn't expect anything like this to happen there. That just kind of tells you that something like this can happen anywhere, and I think that that brings out the fear.
Yeah, no, the fear of that night. People magazine is running an excerpt. I think it appears on the 20th of this month, which details the chapter on the night of the killings. And they thought, many, just to give a hint of what's in it, many people have said that the suspect's white car that came there 3 different times, turns around, all that, was stalking the house. My feeling is that he wasn't so much stalking the house as trying to get up the nerve to cross this mental boundary where he could be a killer. Each time he tries to escape, to drive off, to get away from the demons that are urging him to go into the house. And when he finally comes back and he realizes he can't escape from these demons, he's able to find the strength to turn off the key. It took the strength of Hercules, in effect, to turn off the key on his Hyundai and then take the knife in his hand, walk down that hill, his feet crunching on the ice till he gets to the kitchen door, which then, opens up like an intake of breath. It's the only sound in this very quiet night. And after that, that's when the night comes falling down with a madness all of its own. It's a grisly moment.
And I like the way you say the crunching of the ice. 'Cause I lived up north, and when it would get icy, yeah, that's right. You'd be walking home at night and just hear the crunch underneath your feet. And
that, even though there was a gag order, for example, I was able to go there and walk down the hill, and it was difficult going with the crunch of the ice, and I could feel, my feet, my boots on that ground. I had my parka on, my stocking cap pulled down low, and it was pretty cold. And one thinks of, that wasn't too long after the killings. One thing of how cold it was on that night. Then one goes to the alibi, which has been just offered up in court, that he was out looking at the stars on a frigid night, just coincidentally between 2:47 and 4:48 in the morning when his phone was turned off and the murders occurred a little after 4. That's a heck of a time to go, uncomfortable time to go out looking at stars in a hilly, isolated park in Washington State.
Yeah, the alibi is, to me, I think it's really, really weak.
And another thing about the alibi, that I can talk about is, first they gave that alibi about 9 months earlier. They gave it in a terse one sentence. He was out hiking around. The judge, he's like a character in a Catch-22 by Joseph Heller, repeating his name, Judge, like Major in Catch-22. But Judge said, that's not an alibi at all. That's a sort of alibi. So they take 9 more months delaying the legal proceedings moving forward. And they come up with, they add like a sentence more. They name the park where he was walking around in. It's, there's a statement that lawyers use. If you have the facts, pound them. If you don't have the facts, pound the table. And I think that's a bit of what the defense is doing now, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. To me, I think it's more of throwing mud on a wall and seeing what sticks. Did you take the drive that was in the probable cause affidavit?
I took the drive. I spent some time in Washington State University. Most interesting thing I did, and I wrote about this in Airmail, is this pool party that Brian Kohberger goes to, that he's invited to by someone who lived in the building. I think it's Chris Martinez that he goes to. at the housing, sort of student housing project in Moscow. And I spent some time there, talked to the people involved there. As I've written about, Brian Kohberger is sitting there talking to people, and he hits on two of the women there who were in, black two-piece suits, and he gets their numbers. He never calls them, but the women have told me they were getting hang-up calls in the aftermath, and where that's connected, who knows? But it's a sort of a chilling thought that he was looking at these women too, but couldn't quite find the will to take the next step. Because here he was at this pool party, people who were there, and I wrote about this in Airmail, so it's been published already. He's sitting at the edge of the pool, and he's looking good. He's gotten in shape. He's lost over 100 pounds. He has his hair slicked, and he wanted to be a player. He wanted to be one of the other kids there, but because of who he was and who he is, he could not get involved in that sort of world. And I think that was what was perhaps tearing him apart.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't, I must have missed that article where you were writing about him being in the pool.
Well, the pool party is, something the FBI has been going into, as you read in the book, trying to get photographs of who was there.
I've never. Okay, I've heard talk about a pool party. I never heard that Kohberger was there. It's been a long time since we had a show on this topic, but
Yeah.
when? I don't know. Maybe I missed something. Did anybody remember that?
I remember hearing he was there, but
At a pool party?
yeah, but I didn't hear anything about the FBI trying to get pictures of who was there. I heard about Brian Kohberger getting two girls' numbers there, but I didn't know if it was true.
Hold on. Let me know in chat, because I'm
I kind of always assumed it wasn't true.
I mean, I kind of did too, but I don't know. I'm not. It's not ringing a bell.
I'll see if I have some info on it, and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it's not ringing a bell. Let's see here.
Both perhaps the victims, whatever, but very early on, when Brian first arrives in Washington State, and he's unloading his car with his father. His father went out there originally, and that's sort of interesting. Brian Kohberger was 28 years old at the time, and his father feels his father, who is 68, feels he has to go traveling with his son because he really doesn't know how his son's going to adjust. And the father convinces a neighbor, Christopher Martinez, who's a former veteran, a very impressive man. Maybe you can introduce my son to some people. And Martinez, because he's a nice man, he tells him about this pool party that some of his friends are giving in Moscow. And that's
I do remember that. I do
Brian's
remember
first trip to Moscow. And I talk about that trip and the party, and I can give some details about it that I think readers might be interested in.
Interesting. That is interesting. There's been a lot of talk over the I guess year and a half now, about a pool party, some rumors and speculation. So it's interesting to hear that there was more to it. I had heard the story of the pool party. I hadn't heard that he had gotten 2 phone numbers, is what I was trying to say. I didn't know that part. But that's interesting. That's interesting stuff. So when you did that drive that's on the PCA, did you notice anything about the atmosphere? I mean, not the atmosphere, the scenery. Was there a lot out there? What do you think about somebody maybe being out there without their phone on?
It just seems odd to be out there without your phone on. But what I was sort of looking for, where there were places where you could get rid of the murder weapon, where you were, and they sure are. And also, one of the things that I've written about is before the murders, Brian Kohberger goes to a Walmart and he buys a sort of blue workman suit. And and one theory is that he wore that blue workman suit on the night of the murders. That's why there was no blood anywhere. That's one of the most amazing things about the case, the absence of blood, anything that Brian Kohberger had in his car, whatever, and a trail of blood outside the house. You would think with so much blood that was literally dripping out of the floorboards of the house. Everyone has seen that photo of the blood dripping out of the side of the house. There's so much it couldn't even be contained in the 4 walls. There was nothing on Brian Kohberger. And one theory that the FBI is taking quite seriously, and I write about this in the book, is that this blue workman suit that he had, they have a receipt for it, and that perhaps he wore that in the house that night, later put it in a plastic garbage bag or whatever, and that was one of the things that he might have gotten rid of on that ride.
Yeah, that's something that we've theorized as well, because, I thought that they were going to find something in that car, given the amount of blood and the scene that you described. I was shocked, but then, I started thinking about, how much effort probably went into this. I mean, the only DNA that we're aware of, or that I'm aware of, is the DNA in the sheath. So whoever committed this crime closely with a knife and didn't leave anything, sweat, eyelash, an eyebrow, hair, nothing. I mean, he had bushy eyebrows, not one fell. So if he went to that extent, I think he would have gone to the extent of also planning the exit, the drive away, how he was going to prepare the car. I think the most recently, Rex Huerman's, the Long Island serial killer, his, I guess, laptop came into play, and he talked about, doing the stuff after the crime so that way he can continue to get away with it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was something like that. In your book, and you mentioned this earlier, there's a lot of rumors that were going on early on. Do you disprove any of those rumors in this book? There's ones about drugs being used and Papa Rogers, stuff like that.
I think I give a detailed description of what actually happened, and in the process, I dispel some of the rumors. What makes the drug angle so fascinating is that it's going to be part of the defense's argument. I think they're going to show how drug could possibly, if you have to create an alternative scenario, you have to tell a different story. They're going to focus on that. The head of the drug task force in the area, Sheriff Brett Myers, said that's the answer that makes sense to him the most, drugs. Also, you have so many of the victims, their families have ties to drug problems. As Ann Taylor, Kohberger's lawyer, knows full well, Zanuck Kernoodle's mother was in jail at the time, and she was going to defend her, Kara Kernoodle, from the drug charges. So there is this all the questions inexorably lead back to drugs. Tying into that is university life, fraternity row. Well, I interview people in the book who talk about drug dealing on University Row, something that's being confirmed in the book by police authorities. So there is that element. I will also say that of the 4 victims, according to what I've been able to learn from the autopsies, there was no trace of drugs in any of the systems of the 4 victims. None. They had no drug use themselves. So I think that's interesting. I don't want to disparage the victims. One of the things that I think about is Xana Kernodle on our high school graduation before she went to the university. On her mortarboard, she had, "For the lives I will change. For the lives I will change." And that's, in many ways, the most poignant part of this story, the most affecting part, is that these young kids with so much promise will never get the opportunity to live out their lives and to change other lives. And that's just a horrible tragedy.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Those 4 victims and their families have been impacted like no other. And that's one of the things that, a lot of folks will look at some of the things that, like, for instance, I know, or I'm familiar with Steve and Christy Gonsalves, and people ask me questions like, "Hey, well, what did they mean by this or that?" And I'm like, well, one, it's a live show sometimes that they're doing. There's emotions and things that are involved in that stuff. You might not want to take everything literal, especially when somebody's speaking out of emotion.
They definitely get, I would say that too, a sort of free pass. They unfortunately have earned the horrible right to say whatever they want, because they are very much victims of this. And the trajectory, I fear, the rest of their lives is always going to be impacted by this. I think of Steve Gonsalves, staring at the camera when he gave one of the early interviews and telling the killer, "We're coming for you. We're coming for you." And that was just not a warning to the killer. It was a promise to himself that he was not just going to sit back idly. And there's something, to me, heroic, something admirable about a father wanting to avenge his daughter, not letting her go, just gently into the good knife, but he wants to make sure that justice is done. And that's another reason why the delay of the trial is so infuriating, because justice is just being delayed. And I think it's being delayed for the most cynical of reasons by the defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. Yeah, and I'm glad you said that also about the no drugs in the system. That was something that I was also aware of with Maddie and Kaylee. I wasn't aware that was the same situation with Ethan and Xana. And so, to get that out there, that, hey, these folks weren't, involved in that. It wasn't like they were trying to prepare for a drug test, obviously. So,
Right.
There would be something there had they been, recreationally using these things. There was a party the night before with 150 people at their house, so you would assume that there would still be something like that still in their system.
Right. Again, I want to emphasize, the subtitle of this book of, When the Night Comes Falling, a requiem. It's a memorial prayer for these students. And I hope I've made these students, these victims, come alive as characters, and the people who don't know them could get a sense of the lives they lived and the lives that they might have had if they hadn't been cut short. I want to be respectful to them and give them the honor that's due.
I've been saying that from the beginning. I've even always wondered if, have you read Ethan's mom's book?
I've glanced at it, and the Chapins are a wonderful family, and he was a wonderful sort of happy-go-lucky, goofy guy, very handsome young man. He's sort of, what me worry attitude moving through life. And you just know he was somehow, he was able to finesse life forever. and that only good things were going to come sort of accidentally into his way. He's sort of like Lucky Ethan, the kid who would dress up in a hot dog outfit, or always jump onto the dance floor and dance in his goofy way. And again, it's a tragedy. When one considers his death, I mean, Ethan was 6'4", he was an athlete, great basketball player, good at other sports too, and yet the assailant was able to kill him. And that what happened the night of the murder, as I said, that's something I go into that People is going to be detailing in their online excerpt. But it just happened so quickly, and the details I think will shock people.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it will. I mean, the police chief put out there that that not just the rookie cops, but even himself and some of the other cops were needing psychiatric help or therapy with the
scene.
Yeah, and
that's that's one of the things that I spoke about. I think I wrote that months earlier, the whole thing. And when you talked, how was I able to get sources? Well, when I read the police report, like days after the murders, I saw who was the psychologist for the police. And so when I first went out there, I was able to interview him, and he was able to tell me the story about he plays in a 70s or 80s cover band. They do a lot of Eagles. They do Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline. And when he first gets the call from the chief, he's leaving his house. He has a long driveway, and the chief is calling, and he thinks the chief is calling to apologize for not coming to his show because they're good buddies. And the chief says, no, it's not about that. He says, I think some of my young officers are going to need your help. And then he pauses, and he says, it's not just the young officers. And everyone in the police department became a very personal investigation because so many, they were part of the town. So many, like the chief went to the University of Idaho. His two daughters went there. They all could envision this happening to them, that these were in effect their children, their community. And yet there were mistakes made in the investigation that I document.
Got you. Yeah, I've heard of some of the mistakes as well. And you also documented early on also that when police arrived at the scene, there was students there that were quiet, and one person murmured dead. Does the book go into the 911 call at any? I mean, that's a big mystery to everybody.
I have to admit, I haven't heard the 911 call. What is the larger mystery, and I go into this as best as I can, is the 8 hours between Dylan's citing the intruder, I think twice, and then making this call. And then when she makes the call, she doesn't call 911. She calls friends from the fraternity. They come down, and one of Ethan's buddies eventually makes the 911 call on her phone, on Dylan's phone. And what I've heard of the 911 call is just a wail. It's just, heartbreaking, but I don't think it's of any evidentiary value in a sense. There's no secrets.
Whoa. Okay, I never heard that. It was just a bunch of wailing, disturbing. I never heard that.
Me neither.
Huh. So now it makes me wonder, unresponsive even more. The whole 911 call itself. Because we thought they didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
With what he's saying, they obviously knew what happened. I mean, you would have to if it was that messy. Because the coroner said that. Medical examiner.
Mm.
It was
Can I
really
listen
messed.
to that part again? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, let me rewind it here.
Some of my young officers are going to need your help. And then he pauses and he says, it's not just the young officers. And everyone in the police department became a very personal investigation because so many, they were part of the town. So many, like the chief went to the University of Idaho. His two daughters went there. They all could envision this happening to them, that these were in effect their children, their community. And yet there were mistakes made in the investigation that I document.
Got you. Yeah, I've heard of some of the mistakes as well. And you also documented early on also that when police arrived at the scene, there was students there that were quiet, and one person murmured dead. Does the book go into the 911 call at any? I mean, that's a big mystery to everybody.
Yeah, I have to admit, I haven't heard the 911 call. What is the larger mystery?
What?
And I go into this as best as I can, is the 8 hours between Dylan's citing the intruder, I think twice.
He said he
and
didn't
then
hear
making
it.
this call. And then when she makes the call, she doesn't call 911. She calls friends from the fraternity. They come down, and one of Ethan's buddies eventually makes the 911 call on her phone, on Dylan's phone. And what I've heard of the 911 call is just a wail. It's just, heartbreaking. But I don't think it's of any evidentiary value in a sense. There's no secrets involved.
So why wouldn't it be released?
Yeah. How
If
can
there's
it not
no
be?
evidentiary value, I'm so confused. What's the whole reason why it wasn't released then?
Because it has evidentiary value.
Right. Because of who called? But we hear 911 calls all the time. I mean, hell, we're covering Micah's case, and we hear the people that we're hearing the 911 call from the person that found her, and we know who it is,
Yeah.
What the heck? This is, if it's just a bunch of wailing, no evidentiary value. Well, why is it such a secret? Even if it was Hunter. I don't think she was there either, Katrina. I think she walked back to the house with him, and then she got in the car and took off. I think that's what happened. Then you hear her statement. She says that she was with them from approximately 9 p.m. until 1:45 a.m. at Sigma Chi.
Yeah.
Why do we still not know where Ethan and Xana were if they reportedly did leave? Why isn't their whereabouts known? Because it's not on video? Like the grub truck? I wonder if the grub truck, if they didn't reach out about the grub truck video, I wonder if they would have been trying to keep all that a secret too. I don't know. I just keep thinking about them rich old dudes that have a bunch of money. Let's see. This goes on for another. We might end up just finishing watching this, and we'll check out the Megyn Kelly's stuff on Thursday.
Okay.
I kind of want to keep listening to this one. There's still another like 25 minutes or so.
Okay.
It's
It's interesting.
Jay for Justice is going to have him on the show on Friday, so we'll have to hang out in chat Friday and watch it and hang out together as a community over there. Listen to I don't know. Shit's confusing.
Gotcha. So it's probably more in effort to protect Brian Kohberger's fair trial.
That's not us.
I think if something got out that was, saddening to that extent and horrific to that manner, I think that it would probably give people a certain, look at Brian Kohberger a certain way.
I mean, the real bigger question is, why did Dylan do nothing? Why did she, not call 911? What
There we
happened
go.
after those moments? And that's something I do discuss.
There we go,
in
Howard.
the book.
Oh, okay.
I have my own thoughts. I myself I'm an ex-police officer, so I've dealt with like victims of like sexual assault, and sometimes they don't report it early. They don't call police. They call friends and stuff. So trauma can be very tricky, and so it is what it is. What do you think?
And I might suggest that trauma might have saved her life. For example, when Zaina says there's someone here, if she had not spoken, if Kohberger might have just passed her by. I discuss in the book whom I think was the primary target. And her speaking up, I think, cost Zaina her life. I think perhaps Dylan remaining silent saved her life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you. So kind of transitioning to the recent.
I got to hear that again. What did he just say?
It is what it is. What do you think?
And I might suggest that trauma might have saved her life. For example, when Zaina says there's someone here, if she had not spoken, if Kohberger might have just passed her by. I discuss in the book whom I think was the primary target. And her speaking up, I think, cost Zaina her life. I think perhaps Dylan remaining silent saved her life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh my God.
So kind of transitioning to the recent court hearings, what is your opinion on the change of venue? That's the next one that's coming up. Do you think that's a right move by the defense? Me personally, I think it's the wrong move, but what are your thoughts on the change of venue?
I think it's definitely the wrong move, and I write about it. One of the reasons why it's the wrong move is because of the jury pool. The jury pool in Moscow, you're going to have to exclude anyone from the university, most probably. So that leaves a large part is the Christ Church group, the Kirkers, Reverend Wilson, Pastor Wilson's flock.
Yeah, Doug Wilson, Christ Church. I think I think he was saying since Zaina, not that she was the primary, but I think he was saying, this is weird now, I'm getting crackles. What the hell? Am I crackling to you guys?
I don't hear any crackling.
Maybe. Okay, that sounds better. I think he's saying that because Xana spoke up, that's why the person that committed the crime was like, "Oh, there's somebody here." But okay, this is my question. If that was heard saying, "I think somebody's here," that to me I, don't you think that that's something she would have said to Ethan? And if you think somebody's breaking in or there that shouldn't be there, for you to go, I think somebody's here.
Yeah.
I would think if she spoke up, she would have went out there and said, "Hey, who are you?" And that would have been what was
Yeah,
said.
I don't think that what he's
Yeah, that's right. Kaylee said that. What did Yeah, no, yeah, because Xana, she was just heard whimpering.
So what I thought I remember, and it's been a while since I read it, I think they said that it sounded like Kaylee said
What
it,
the heck?
but
Okay,
then
whoa, this
they
is right. Because he said Xana said that, but no, it was Kaylee because she was upstairs. I think somebody's here. That they heard the DM stated right before that she heard what sounded like her roommate. Sounded like her roommate playing with the puppy. I think she would have went out there to why would he say that? Let me go back because he did say, I thought, yeah, he said that, I'm sure, right?
I think perhaps Dylan remaining silent saved her life.
Yeah, that makes a lot.
Whom I think was the primary target. And her speaking up, I think, cost Xana her life. Kohberger might have just passed her by.
Hold on.
When Xana says there's someone here, if she had not spoken, Kohberger might have just passed her by. I discuss in the book whom I think was the primary target.
What's up, Nina?
And her speaking up, I think, cost Xana her life. I think perhaps Dylan remaining silent saved her life.
We'll be reading the book.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you.
I can't feel that shit.
So kind of transitioning to the recent court hearings, what is your opinion on the change of venue? That's the next one that's coming up. Do you think that's a right move by the defense? Me personally, I think it's the wrong move, but what are your thoughts on the change of venue?
I think
it's the right one.
It's definitely the wrong move, and I write about it. One of the reasons why it's the wrong move is because of the jury pool. The jury pool in Moscow, you're going to have to exclude anyone from the university, most probably. So that leaves the large part is the Christ Church group, the Kirkers, Reverend Wilson, Pastor Wilson's flock. Pastor Wilson has told me that his group has had many conflicts with the police coming out of the pandemic. His son and grandson have gone on trial. He has said to me on the record that the police lied when they were talking about his parishioners and his son and grandson during the trial. And so since they've lied before, I would counsel my parishioners, he says this, and I go into this in great detail in the book, I would counsel my parishioners not to believe any policemen on the stand. I think they will be very sympathetic to anyone who's opposing the police narrative in Moscow. I think they will get a more favorable jury pool than if they move elsewhere in the state. But I think what the defense is ultimately trying to do by this change of venue is just delay, and more delay. The trial is not going to take place probably at the earliest be a year from now. That's what the judge was talking about, a year from this summer. Well, now it could be 2 years or 3 years from this summer. That's the game. I think they're very happy having their client stay in the Moscow jail rather than being convicted of a capital crime and perhaps having to face a firing squad, which could happen. In the courtroom, Ann Taylor always makes a point of saying that she believes in her client's innocence, and she goes out of her way to put a protective hand around Brian's shoulder. Her co-counsel, Ms. Massouf, has said it's, quote, a privilege to defend Brian Kohberger. And they make a very convincing case. But I would suggest if they actually believed in their innocence, I knew if I were convicted of a crime and I knew I didn't do it, or if I was standing trial rather for a crime, I'd be shouting it from the rooftops. I'd be demanding to get me out of jail. I'd be demanding to lay out the facts and not wait a year and a half and say I was walking in a park at 4 a.m, looking at the stars on a frigid night. And I'd be urging the authorities to look for the real killer or killers. I'd say, let's get to the bottom of this. So their argument and their conviction and their support of their client, while it's admirable, I don't find it very persuasive.
I've been saying that for a little while, that if he's innocent and he knows he is, why not just start trying to prove it? That way we can find the actual person who did this. But I think him being silent and by him, I guess, wanting to be in jail, to me it shows a different picture.
Well, early on he was like, I can't wait to be exonerated, blah 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 blah. That seems to all have died down over time. And so, I mean, it's probably why, there's been less and less stuff there that, or maybe things that he was banking on didn't really work in his favor. Do you go into, in your book, like Brian Kohberger's attempts to become an intern police officer and why or he may not have gotten that position?
I go into Brian Kohberger's attempts and success in reinventing his life. I mean, here he was, 120-pound overweight heroin addict at one point, and going to a dead end sort of student, goes to community college, and you have to admire him to a certain extent. He's able to reinvent his life. He's able to lose the weight. He's able to work out. His body becomes a temple. He becomes a vegan. Then he makes it a fortress because he's learning the martial arts. He's doing all this stuff, and he's able to get into a very selective graduate school for criminal justice. I mean, his future seems really bright. And then things fall apart, and I document sort of the existential crisis he has and how that sends everything awry.
Yeah. I think there's a like a little bit of a showing of a history of things that aren't going right for him. Things that we do know is he's not he's getting kicked out as as the teacher's assistant at WSU. He's having problems with his professor, having problems with PhD students, and at the same.
Okay, hold on. I thought he was kicked out after he was charged.
I believe so.
Does anybody remember that for sure? It's been a while since I covered it, but I thought he was kicked out after he was charged.
I think so.
And when you hear college students talk about teachers' assistants, I thought that they're always hard on the students. I mean, hell, look at the generation nowadays. Oh, you're not supposed to do it that way. And then all of a sudden their butt hurt. Maybe not over there, Rosee, but over here. The fucking participation medal effects are like in full effect nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was a teaching assistant.
I came from back in the day when you played sports. If you weren't good, you didn't get on the fucking court.
Right.
I would have had, man, I'm telling you right now, if I would have had to deal with that shit when I was playing basketball and because I was out there on the court. I was a fucking point guard. I was out there. If I had to lose some of my playing time for somebody that couldn't make a fucking basket, oh, I'd be having a fucking problem. The fuck you doing, coach? Do you want to win or what, bro? People getting butt hurt. Well, I at least want a ribbon. Otherwise, I'm gonna go fucking cry. Give me a break. It's called work harder, practice more, do better, right? Work for it. Not everybody succeeds at everything. Sometimes you got to put some work into it. I was putting in the fucking work. I didn't have a damn childhood. My childhood was listening to the radio, practicing taking shots on the court. Constantly running myself in situations that I'm trying to put myself in. So when it comes time to game time, I'm not freaking out going, oh my gosh, what do I do? I've already played the situation in my head a billion times. Maybe that's why I was playing and I was on the court, because I was actually practicing and getting fit and working out, practicing drills, situations. So that way, it was nothing for me to hit that fucking bucket when we were down. It wasn't nothing. Didn't think about it. Just did it. Oh, I'm sure. This is the crazy thing, Samantha. I was actually after a couple years after, maybe about 5 years after I graduated, because I in my childhood I grew up through the YMCA, tournaments and leagues and all that stuff. That was beyond school. Because we did a lot of travel AAU basketball. So I was traveling to different places, getting in different tournaments and, all these different things. I wanted to become a coach because this is what I really wanted to do. A few years after, I wanted to become a coach. I wanted to go back to the Y leagues. I wanted to take the teachings that I got and then pass it on. I went to school to become a referee because I wanted to become a referee to use that also for a potential future coaching career. All right. I wanted to coach basketball. And when I started taking the classes to become a ref, and then I'm going through the classes and everything, and I'm having to go to different local games, because you got to have like the there's a process that, you know, you kind of have to, like, I don't know. There's a lot to it. As I'm seeing how these parents are acting and the way that these referees were getting treated and the baby fits that were just left and right, just like I project the future about cases that we talked, I also projected the future in my own mind. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind if I'm going to deal with some shit like this. So I just said, fuck it, I'm not doing it. Because I saw the coaches that were trying to do the right thing and how they got treated. And I saw the other coaches that were going with the quo pro and everybody's celebrating them. And I'm just sitting there going, you got to be fucking kidding me. Nope. So maybe it's just an old school thinking. Oh, damn, I need to foil this microphone stand. It may be just some old school thinking, but I'm sorry. I already knew I would be that coach that would be like, I'm sorry, your child needs to practice more. And I know it wouldn't have ended good. Because you see how it all is nowadays. I'm like, no. There's other ways that I can help the future instead of deal with this dumb shit. Played soccer and I got on it. That was right. You gotta work your ass off, right, Samantha? Right. It's just like, come on. I'd be like, man, I'm telling you right now, if that shit would have happened, because you already had, you know, you're already traveling. There's people looking at you. I would have been, "Fuck, I'll just go to this team. Fuck this shit. I got to sit on the bench when I still got more energy and ability to play in this game, and I got to sit there and watch this dude fucking get 7 turnovers in 2 minutes when I would have fucking got 7 assists. Give me a break. I would have been fucking pissed. Horrible.
Same time, I suspect he's not getting the job as the intern police officer. So I think his world is kind of crumbling around him. You know, we touched a little bit.
What he talks about that, interestingly enough, and you can read this in the book, with his father on this trip across America.
How does he know?
What is happening at WSU to him and how he feels he maybe can right the situation.
Where did he get
Because
this?
at this point, even though he's been formally fired from asked not to come back or not to, he's not going to get his scholarship and not going to be a teaching assistant. He hasn't received that notification as of yet. He just knows that something is in the works. And he still thinks there is a way out of this. And he believes, or he wants to believe, that he can talk his way out of this and that when he returns, there will be a hearing where he will be triumphant and he will get reinstated as a teaching assistant.
Wow.
Interesting. See, that was one of the things that I was always kind of wondering is, did he even tell his father that he was going through the problems that he was going through?
This book.
You know, we know he changed his license plates from Pennsylvania to Washington.
He had to.
To me, that's somewhat of an indication of him wanting to go.
What the fuck are you talking about, bro? Dude, he had to change his fucking license plates. His fucking registration was running out.
Yeah.
You moved to a different state, I think. You're down with the Steelers and you moved to Texas. I assume you changed states. What do? Most people, and let's be honest, because I'm fucking one of them, I've done lived in 5 states. All right? I wait till the last fucking minute to change my shit. You think that I'm gonna pay? Hey, even if it's $20, you think I'm gonna pay? Fucking waste $20 worth of a registration from my prior to fucking get a new one before I need to? You're out of your damn mind.
I don't think anyone would.
No, you got more than 30 days. You got, well, I guess it depends on the state. Some states you have months. You don't, it could be like months before you even have to. because your address is updated, because your address is updated on your identification and things like that. He was supposed to change it. He had to. His expiration was coming up. He moved there in the spring, summer, and he didn't change him until he had to. Right. His birthday was coming up. He had to. So he literally was there the whole time and didn't have to change him until he had to. And that's because the registration in PA. See, now some states, your ID and your registration gets renewed on your birthday. Some states, your ID and your registration get renewed on a certain month of the year, depending on what your name is. The first letter of your last name depends on what month that you got. You know what I mean? It's all different for each one. So, yeah, your registration's running out. It's your birthday. That's probably because in Ohio, that's how it is. I would assume maybe it's the same in Pennsylvania. They're right next to each other. In Ohio, you renew it on your birthday. License and registration. So I can't wait to read this book. I bet you it is fucking outlandish. How in the hell did Howard Blum know the conversation that was taking place between Brian and his dad when he's telling us that he was fired before he was charged? He's got his own shit all mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we don't get that confused in the book. Because there's some shit here that I don't know. I don't know how he's getting it or how he would get it. And then also saying stuff that just is not true at all whatsoever. PA is on your birthday now? Yeah. He changed his plate right before the crime, or right after. Because it was right after, actually. It was like, what, the end of November, right? Is when he switched it. It was like a week. It was like a week after. A week or two after. Yeah. I don't know. This book's going to be nuts. We need to figure out if it's a 5-hour read. We need to figure out when we're going to do it, because that's maybe tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Wednesday. Would you have 5 hours to read it tomorrow, Rosie?
Not tomorrow.
Like in the daytime? Like this show? Start off at 10 Eastern. Read the
it would
whole
have
thing.
to be a bit later than this. I can try.
Are you there?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
If you're talking, your mic might not be working. I see you're not on mute, but I haven't heard anything for a bit, actually. You might have mic issues or something. Yeah, just let me know, Rosie.
Go back, and if he's lost his job, what he's going to go back to, so I had thought about that. That's an interesting thing. I can't wait for the book to come out. I want to see so much.
I mean,
of it.
what he lost is not the job, teaching assistant job, but it was, they gave him the $29,000 a year to pay for it. And, When you've got nothing to lose, as Bob Dylan says. His whole life that he had constructed, and it was, really something that before that you could admire. Getting off of heroin is no easy trick. It takes a lot of discipline. He moves from one obsession for being a heroin addict to this sort of fitness fanatic, this vegan, and he replaces that with another obsession. He was a man who obsessions come easily, and that's why you can see him also believe in fixing on one of the people involved or living in the house, and I go into that a bit in the book too.
Interesting. What do you think about, when it comes to his alibi, what do you think about the fact that he's saying that he was at Wawa Park, which is, I guess there's been some allegations that Ted Bundy's first murder, Joyce LePage, her body was found in that location. And when he leaves to go back to Washington, he takes a weird route going through Grand Junction. He's caught in Loma, which is another place where Ted Bundy had committed a murder that he had basically stated that he had committed it right before his death. But that,
oh my Lord. Okay. Oh my Lord. I'm gonna share this with you guys again. This is okay. Okay, when it comes to this route, people, if you just commit a crime like that against 4 individuals, you're not going to drive through dinky ass towns that have 1 cop and no stoplight. An hour and something out of the way to go back home when you can literally take a route that you are barely even caught on surveillance right to your home. This makes, you can see it right here. Click on this link, go to the part where it's the part that he should have took, right? The route he should have. And you'll see, if somebody is committing this crime, they're not going to drive an hour and something south out of the way into small ass dinky towns with 1 fucking cop that don't see no cars driving through between 3 and 4 in the morning, 4 and 5 in the morning. If they do see cars, they see the same ones. They see a car they ain't never seen. Hold on a second. Woo, 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 woo. Why in the hell would you do that? After you did that to 4 people, you're going to get caught. You're going to take the route on Airport Road from the crime scene back to your home. This caught on Loma, I'm still waiting for anything other than the stock photo. And when we've shown you the cameras and the clarity of the pictures that you can get, that route right there that I take you on before the route he should shows you all of the security cameras he was passing by. I don't want to hear this Loma shit. I'm still waiting for Moscow. Loma?
That one, the body was never found, and the other one, they never really tied
That-
it to
that
it.
too,
One
Patty.
kind of alleged. Any credence to anything like that? I know
Loma?
you studied serial killers in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I think what's most interesting about Loma is, and I go into this in some detail, the FBI had lost him. They were trailing him, and they lost him until he got to Loma. The fact that the FBI was trailing him is an involved story that I think people will be interested in, might make some news. His being in the park, well, he has been seen walking, not at 4 a.m, but at 6 or 7 o'clock at night in other parks in the area.
Oh wow, that's I better not. I don't touch anything I'm not really interested in buying anymore because of this case. I better not go to any fucking parks and go walk around either now. Sorry, parks. Can't go walking and hiking and mountain biking no more. Cause I mean, that's suspicious shit. Oh my gosh. Did you hear CJ was mountain biking in some trails? Oh my gosh. Means he's probably one of those SKs. The hell is that shit? This is who I think did this crime. The incel theory at Queen Road Apartments. And I used my real footage and photography to show you guys why I feel that way. Let me see. I don't hear you still, Rosie, if you're talking. She's having some microphone issues. Yeah, I guess it's a crime. I better not.
Area. I've spoken to some of the people at the pool party, for example, who came across him there as they were leaving one park. They saw him going in, but it's a specious argument. He just happened to turn off his phone just at that time. I think, and to look for Ted Bundy similarities.
Oh my gosh.
I think that might be might be a bridge too far, at least for me at this point.
Thank you, Howard.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, and you know, I think that was just kind of some of the things.
Oh
that
my
people
Lord,
looked
what the
into.
hell?
And then again, if somebody commits a crime like this, you know,
I don't know what I missed a lot, you guys. I really have. This is fucking crazy. This is fucking crazy. Yeah, Rosie, I still can't hear you. I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Maybe back out and come back in. Maybe it's StreamYard. I was getting crackles a little bit ago. Maybe try back out and come back in and see if that helps.
you know, there's probably going to be some similarities with other people that commit crimes like this.
I mean, you put up with everyone is looking into every angle, and that's one of the problems with this gag order. That it allows people just to go off in any direction, and because the crime has no motive at this point, then you have to believe in anything. You have to investigate anything. That was a problem that the police confronted when they begin their investigation. At the early days of the investigation, they said nothing makes sense. We have to assume that anything is possible. And I talk about some of the avenues that they go down. It takes them a while to realize that they're dead ends, but they're, interesting avenues. And just as you were saying, they seem feasible and logically possible, but they turn out to be dead ends until they put this all together.
That's very true. That's very true. You're absolutely right on that. So you spoke a little bit earlier about the book turning into a docuseries. Is that correct?
Well, it's going to be a dramatic series. Village Roadshow Productions has bought the book to produce it. And
oh my gosh, a dramatic series. You know what that means. You know what the dramatic series means.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You know what the dramatic series means? It means it's like one of them Lifetime movies where it's based on real events. No, it's not.
No.
No, it's not. They took 2 words out of a book and made a whole script out of it. That's what that means. I mean, hell, everybody was bamboozled from the Blind Side movie for how long? And now the football player that was the main part of the story was like, yo, that shit was fake as hell. He's coming out the last couple of years saying, yo, that movie was fake. That shit didn't happen like that. Everybody was bamboozled from the Blind Side. Yeah, it was a sweet story. Sandra Bullock, was this motherly figure that took an underprivileged child and helped him succeed, and he made it to the NFL, and you know, it was like this huge it's like this huge uplifting story, you know. And he was going along with it when he was in the NFL, and then after he got out of the NFL, he was like, yo, that never happened that way. that never happened that way. Based off a dramatic series. Oh my gosh, can you imagine what they're he better watch out, because if Kohberger, oh man, if Kohberger gets found not guilty
Right?
and he's making a movie, you know damn well. Look at what the lady's doing with the reindeer. What's that movie called? Or series Reindeer Baby or some shit. I don't know. I never seen it. I hear people talking about it. It's like a tell me in chat. What's the it's on Netflix or something, right? Reindeer Baby or something. You see what that lady's doing? They based same thing. Based a movie or a series off of a story that was supposed to be true, and now she's going after him because she's going after him for her likeness. She's like, you made that character. It looks like me. It's a generalization of me. I'm gonna sue you. Baby reindeer. Okay. It's the story where this old lady pretended to be this young girl, you know, catfish and shit, you know, and then started harassing and stalking this dude. And he thought he was talking to some young lady or whatever, and it turned out to be some creepy old lady that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you guys got to be careful with them fucking websites, man, because you don't know who in the fuck you're talking to, for real. You go show up at you go show up at the bowling alley, and you're like, you get a call, and you're like, yeah, I don't see you, and then all of a sudden they're standing right next to you, and you're like, whoa, huh? What? Like,
surprise.
You go back to your phone, and you're like, right? You're like, wait a minute, what? I'm just saying, it happens. It happens.
It does.
Fuck that. Fuck that. And you don't even know, like, who nah, just don't do it. Like, just don't do it. You know, don't do it. Yeah, I can't wait to read this book. Sorry about the mic issues. I thought you were just busy, Rosie.
I have been talking, and I've been talking a lot to nobody.
I just thought you were busy. You know, sometimes
No.
you got to take care of stuff at home and whatever. So I was like, oh, she's
No. Sorry if I seemed rude, everyone.
No,
I was
well, is there anything that you wanted to mention
I
since
don't remember now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. I don't know what it is. StreamYard's been doing something different too. Like, for some reason, yesterday when I got done with my live, it wouldn't let me back out. It said you need
It's
to.
been doing that to me for a while.
What the hell is that? You need to wait until something's done uploading or something. I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
I don't know, because usually
what is
when you end the live and I try and leave the studio, it just sits there for a while lately, and I'm like the last one to leave, and it's so weird. I'm just like sitting there in StreamYard by myself, but
Yeah,
it's
I
been
don't
doing
know.
that for a while. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'll have to check the settings or something, because I don't know. Maybe they changed something. I know new people bought it, and so maybe it's been a few months
Maybe.
now, and usually when a new company buys it, they kind of sit back and observe the people that were running it just to kind of learn, and then after a few
Yeah.
months they just go shoo, with their own people, bring their own people in. So I don't know if it's maybe one of those transition things with StreamYard or something, but I don't know. Maybe we could read the book tomorrow. Not gonna set it in stone, but would you be able to be of it? Oh no, you're busy tomorrow, aren't you?
A little bit later. If it's like evening for me, then I probably can, but it would have to be quite late for me.
What time Eastern?
Hmm. What time
Because
did the show start today, Eastern?
10 a.m. Eastern.
Okay, so then I could probably do like 12 Eastern.
Hey, that's cool. 12 to 6 or 12 to 5. I mean, that's that's got to be pretty late for you, right? Or is that
Yeah, but it's the only time I can tomorrow.
okay? Well, we'll figure it out more. Maybe tomorrow, you guys, from noon to 5, noon to 6, we'll read the book. I don't know. I gotta hear this stuff that's in the book, because what he's saying with
Yeah.
drunk turkey, it's like, what, bro? Like, where are you getting your shit? Just like when we were reading these articles, I'm like, where are you getting your shit? So, yeah, we'll
very
do that
imagined.
tomorrow. Yeah, let's do that tomorrow. 12 to 5, 12 to 6, if it's still okay with you. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I think it'll
I'll
be
let you know.
yeah. I'm gonna check out the we'll check out the Megyn Kelly stuff. Maybe actually, because we do have the court hearing coming up on Thursday, we are gonna be live a little bit earlier, just to kind of get more caught up. And so maybe before the court hearing on Thursday, we'll go through one of those Megyn Kelly episodes and kind of sit back. I do kind of want to rewatch a little bit of Cy Ray's testimony from the last court hearing
Yeah.
too. Yeah, we're going to be live streaming the court Thursday, so I think I'll have the Megyn Kelly stuff, because I think I have it set. Let me see when I have it set. I think I have it set for 11 a.m. Central, 12 noon Eastern. Oh, 12:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. I think the court hearing is 1:30 Eastern, right? So I think we're going to be on like an hour before here. I'll share the notification for you guys. Hold on one second. Let's see. We'll share the notification right there. It's already there for you. It's 10 Pacific, so that is 10, 11, 12, 1, 1:30. Oh, 1 o'clock? 1 Eastern?
This is so confusing.
I know. 1 Eastern?
How do you come?
I just want to make sure, because I might update the time right now so we have a little bit more time before. I just didn't want to do it too early. So I think 10 Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern. Yeah, 1 Eastern. Okay. So we have it set for 12:30. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it now. So it's 12:30 Eastern right now. I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that to another hour before. Wow, let's just go a half hour. So we'll say 12 noon. All right, let me hit refresh. There we go. So 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. So we'll be on like an hour before. And then we can go ahead and get into some of the Megyn Kelly's stuff and all that. Please, if you're not subscribed to Rosee, here's her link. And I think I'm down for the 12 noon. Read a book, take a look.
Yep.
It's in a book. Reading with CJ and Rosee.
Okay.
Sounds cool. The more you know. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm going to be back tonight. I got to make some phone calls. And then I'm going to be talking to Jay. So as far as I know, I think we still are at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern for the live call with him. But I'll be double checking, kind of going through, making sure. I haven't talked to him yet. I'm going to talk to him after the show's done, make sure everything's still going for tonight. We'll be covering the Micah Miller case. I'm going to get into some of the updates before we do the live call with him. And if he is busy tonight, we're still going to do a Micah episode. So I can't wait. I'm ready to read this book tomorrow. This one right here. When the Night Comes a Fallen. Let's listen to this outlandish shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might end up being more than, if it's a 5-hour read. I don't know. There's a lot of shit there. We might have to sit there and question and discuss, and I don't know.
I was thinking that.
Get your Red Bull or your 5-hour energy. All right. Thank you so much, Rosee, for hanging out. Thank you all for hanging out. It's been a long time talking Idaho 4. Trust me, we're gonna have more shows because I do miss talking about this, and also with all these court hearings coming up and all the stuff that is actually happening. There is more stuff to talk about than just a bunch of theories that we could discuss and have discussed for 2 years and could for another 2 or 20. So there's actually stuff happening. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys later tonight. Thank you, Rosee. Appreciate you. And be safe. Have a peaceful and positive day. And we'll see you tonight.
Bye, everyone.